Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 yo, go, go, go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be a slave. I've been doing shit my way, or the highway. And in the driveway is a nice range. Cause I grind through the climb, I invite pain. You'll never hear me, bitch, nah, I don't complain. Just gotta flip the switch and you can go and obtain anything you want, anything you need. Your mind's got the key ingredient, it's belief. Build a seed with the negativity, but I just slide right by that energy. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. You got a mind, but even that could change. You could flip the gray matter like some batter in your brain. That's why I say, fake it till you make it A. And if you play that game, then you just might make a change. Rearrange all the bad to okay. Take the worst thoughts saying, turn them to a game. Take the best thoughts saying, put them on display. On repeat in your brain till you're feeling no more pain. Never slow yourself down, you can do some more. Push past all the pain and you'll find a door. Open it up and finally explore everything that you thought you could never do before. And even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon. I got eyes in the back of my head, I'm seeing. Take me for granted and you know I'm leaving. I'ma take what's mine with the webs I'm weaving. I could take this crowd from seeing to believing. Got a taste for blood and my tongue keeps bleeding from the words I spit. So sharp, so freezing, so cold. Behold, frostbite they feeling. I could take.
Hello, beauties. Happy Friday. No, I didn't come on yet. That's why you didn't hear anything, because sometimes I have to make sure that um, my audio is good. Sometimes I sound robot-y for some reason, and I think it happens a lot on Apple. But I hope you guys are doing well. This is going to be like a nighttime bed story, like a bedtime story. Nighttime bed, whatever. Just like a scary story. That's a very true story, and it's a actually very interesting story that still remains unsolved till this day. And I just wanted to turn it into something like a nighttime bedtime story. It's very interesting. It's something that happened years ago, and Netflix bought the rights to this specific story a long time ago, and they just turned it into a series. I don't know if you've watched it on Netflix before, but it's called The Watcher House. And so many creators have covered this story. So many creators. I personally like Stephanie Harlow's story that she told, which was probably like 3 to 4 years ago. But it's very interesting and very creepy. Now, in the Netflix not documentary, but the Netflix series that they turned it into, it's very interesting. And I will say that it is very fabricated. It's also more dramatic than the original story. But to me, in the Netflix series, it seems as though they are the way that they how do I explain this? The way the that they made this series, this is almost the theories that they think might be behind why this happened. I think that's more or less what it is. Especially turning it into, like, I don't want to ruin it for anybody. So just to, pre warn you guys, I'm going to, there's going to be some spoilers. So if you haven't watched the series yet, and you find this interesting and you never heard of it until today or whatever the situation is, there's going to be some spoilers. But I find it very interesting how how Netflix turned this series into very, very much true, but then the theories that they put in there as far as like a blood cult and all that kind of stuff, I find very interesting. It's definitely something, if you haven't seen, once you watch, it's very addicting, especially if you know the backstory, So, but it is, I just finished watching the series probably. My fiance and I just finished watching like maybe 3 days ago. And I hope that they come out with more. It doesn't seem like they're going to, but you never know. They might continue it. So I just wanted to like turn this into like a bedtime scary story for you guys. That's not going to be long, but I'm going to pull up something really quickly and then I'm going to talk about the original, the original true story. Did you just finish it, Kelly? Welcome, everyone. If you're new to my channel, I'm Teaya Symone. And over on this channel, we do commentary and sometimes makeup. And we do true crime on Thursdays. And I wasn't able to be on here yesterday, so we're just going to do this today on a Friday. So, true crime Friday for today. Okay, y'all, scary bedtime story. I listened to Bailey Sarian, especially 2 years ago when I was pregnant with my son. It was my bedtime thing. I love Bailey Sarian. I think it's going to continue because of the way that it ended. See, to me, though, I think it's the way that you interpret it, because the way that they ended it, to me, it didn't seem like I don't know, it just doesn't seem like they're going to. It's towards the end. I'm not going to talk about the end and what they said, but it just, to me, I don't know. You know what I mean? I hope that they do, but I don't know. You're probably right, though. Hi, Bella and Punky's mom. Hey, Stranger. Hey, Rianne. Hey, Fatima. Hey, Care Bear. Hey, Denise. Hey, Victoria. Hey, Phoenix. Hey, Felony Melanie. Hey, Betty. Terry. Thank you guys all for being here. Hello, I Hate Peas. Hi, Victoria. Carolyn. So I know a lot of you guys are very interested in this story, like I am. And if you're not, just relax and enjoy the story. So hold on 1 second. Let me pull this up here. Okay. Your voice is soothing. You could read a dictionary and I would listen. I do not think my voice is soothing, but thank you, Kix. I think my voice is annoying, but thank you. And I obviously, the clearing your throat. Let me clear my throat. Anyway. Okay, let me pull up this picture. If I can find it. Hold on. I'm going to share my screen here. Okay. Hopefully you guys can see that very well. Let me make sure you guys can see that very well. Bear with me because I'm not used to showing my whole screen. I usually only show certain parts of it. Mia Farrow is in it. She was in the Omen original remake. Yes, I know. It's very, very interesting. I do hope that they come out with, a part 2, part 3, part 4. I just don't know how many theories they can come up with when it comes to that. Okay. Okay, so let's get started. So some of this stuff I have notes, and then some of it I'm just getting off of different sites just to give you guys, a visual of the true story of the Watcher. Okay. So as you see in this picture, this is, what is his name? Derek Brodus. Derek Brodus. Okay. Mr. and Mrs. Brodus. Hopefully I'm saying their names right. And these are their 3 children. And they chose to, he's very successful. I don't know what kind of business he's in, but he's a very successful man. They are Christians. And they seem like a very genuine couple. From what I read up on this couple, which there's not much out there, but she gave to a lot of different charities and different things like that. And they had already lived in a really nice home, and then they put their eye on this home, which I will pull up in a second. 657 Boulevard, and it is in Westfield, New Jersey. So this home is gorgeous, you guys. Like, if I can think, and I agree with Stephanie Harlow on this, if I can think of a home that I would want to have, it's this home. It is gorgeous. There's a fireplace from what I noticed in the kitchen area, or like the dining room where they sit. It is a beautiful, beautiful home. And I'm pretty sure he got a good deal on this home too. So they chose to purchase this home on 67 Boulevard. And it definitely was their dream home. They did decide to do some renovations on the home and change it up a little bit. And Maria, which is the wife, she was raised in Westfield. And the house was only a few blocks away from her childhood home. Derek grew up in a working class family in Maine. Then they decided to move because he was working for an insurance company in Manhattan to become a senior vice president, which obviously that's good, a senior vice president with this salary large enough to afford the $1.3 million house. The Broduses had bought 657 Boulevard just after Derek celebrated his 40th birthday, and their 3 kids were already debating which of the house's fireplaces Santa Claus would use. So the house had a lot of fireplaces in it. Like, I'm going to try to see if I can find some pictures of the inside of this home, you guys. It is gorgeous. Not sure why they wanted to do renovations, but I guess when you get your dream home, you're going to want to make it more into your home, but I probably wouldn't do anything to it. Could you imagine? Like, that's amazing. A dream home, $1.3 million. Now that's a lot to us, but according to everyone, they got a deal on this home, a really good deal. So once they moved into this home, okay, which they were very, very excited about, they started doing renovations. One day, Derek went outside and to check the mail, and he got a letter in the mail. So this would be the part where I would give you guys a little bit more history of this home, but I don't think that's necessary right now. I just don't think it's necessary. Anyway, one night on in June 2014, Derek had just finished an evening of painting at his new home in Westfield, New Jersey. When he went outside to check the mail, Derek and his wife Maria had closed on the six-bedroom house, a six-bedroom house, holy crap, at 657 Boulevard 3 days earlier, and were doing some renovations before they moved in. So there wasn't much in the mail except for like a few bills and a white card-shaped envelope. It was addressed in thick, clunky handwriting to the new owner, and the typed note instead began very warmly. So basically, in the beginning of the letter, it was nice. Okay, so hold on, let me pull up the letter because I have to pull these things up. I didn't write it down on a piece of paper or a book. I just made sure I saved certain stuff on my iPad. So hold on one second. Okay. So in the beginning of the letter, okay, now you guys need to picture this, okay? You moved into your first home. You go and check the mail, okay? Probably the first time he ever checked the damn mail. And you get this letter, and this is how it started. And it said, "Good afternoon, Derek." Said their names, and it said 657 Boulevard has been the subject of my family for decades now. And as it approaches its 110th birthday, I have been put in charge of watching and waiting for its second coming. My grandfather watched the house in the 1920s, and my father watched it in the 1960s. It is now time. Do you know the history of the house? Do you know what lies within the walls of 657 Boulevard? Why are you here? I will find out. That was the first letter. That's what it said in the letter. So imagine moving into your first home and you check the mail and someone wrote this. Just, they're basically saying they're watching you. Why are you in the home? I will find out why you're in the home. Okay. And I want to get you guys' opinions about who you think this is once I read all the letters to you. But hold on, I'm going to pull up the second letter. The author's renaissance had apparently already begun. The letter identified the Brodus's, I'm probably saying their name wrong, Brodus's Honda minivan, as well as the workers renovating the home. I see already that you have flooded 657 Boulevard with contractors so they can destroy the house as it was supposed to be. The person wrote, "Tisk tisk, bad move. You don't want to make 657 Boulevard unhappy." Earlier in the week, Derek and Maria had gone to the house and chatted with their new neighbors while the children, who were 5, 8, and 10 years old, ran around the backyard with several kids from the neighborhood. The letter writer seems to have noticed, "You have children. I have seen them. So far, I think there are 3 that I have counted." The anonymous correspondent wrote, before asking if there were more on the way, Do you need to fill the house with the young blood I requested? Better for me. Was your old house too small for the growing family? Or was it just greed to bring me your children? Once I know their names, I will call to them and draw to them, and they will draw to me. Okay, so this is a continuance. The letter had more in it. The envelope had no return address. Who am I? The person wrote. There are hundreds and hundreds of cars that drive by 657 Boulevard each day. Maybe I'm in one of them. Look at all the windows. Can you see from 657 Boulevard? Maybe I am in one of them. Look at any of the many windows in 657 Boulevard, at all the people who stroll by each day. Maybe I am one. The letter concluded, which a suggestion that the message would not be the last. Welcome, my friends. Welcome. Let the party begin. Followed by a signature typed in cursive font, The Watcher. It was after 10 p.m. and Derek Brodus was alone. He raced around the house, turning off all the lights so no one could see him on the inside, then called the Westfield Police Department. An officer came out to the house, read the letter, and said, "What the fuck is this?" He asked Derek if he had any enemies. He recommended moving a piece of construction equipment from the back of the porch just in case. The watcher tried to toss it through a window. So I guess that there was something like right there in front that one of the construction guys had put probably their advertisement in the front of the yard, and someone took that advertisement, a sign or whatever, and threw it. So it wasn't no one else, so it could have been the person that wrote the letter. So hold on, where did I leave off at? So, and then it says, Derek rushed back to his wife and kids who were living at their old home. So Derek was there by himself at that time. Elsewhere in Westfield. That night, Derek and Maria wrote an email to John and Andrea Woods, the couple who sold them the house on 657 Boulevard, to ask if they had any idea who the watcher might be or why he or she had written, "I asked the Woods to bring me young blood," and it looks like they listened. Andrea Woods replied the next morning, a few days before moving out. The Woods had also received a letter from the watcher. The note had been odd, she said, and made similar mention of the watcher's family observing the house over time. But Andrea said she and her husband had never received anything like it in their 23 years in the house and had thrown the letter away without much thought. That day, the Woodses went with Maria to the police station, where Detective Leonard Lugo told her not to tell anyone about the letters, including her new neighbors, most of whom she had never met, and all whom were new suspects. So everybody's a suspect, right? Everyone is. The Broduses spent the coming weeks on high alert. Derek canceled his work trip, and whenever Maria took the kids to the new house, she would yell their names if they wandered into a corner or the yard. If you can imagine, I would be totally paranoid. So basically, they weren't fully moved into the house yet. Okay, they still lived at the other house. They were renovating, fixing things with the house. So they were just back and forth at the house. They hadn't officially moved in yet. But they did close in on the house, meaning they paid the money, took out the loan. So they owned the house. They just hadn't moved in yet. The Broduses spent the coming weeks on high alert. Oh yeah, I read that right already. 2 weeks after the letter arrived, Maria stopped by the house to look at some paint samples and to check the mail. She recognized the thick black lettering on a card-shaped envelope and called the police. In the letter, it said, "Welcome again to your new home, 657 Boulevard." The watcher wrote, "The workers have been busy, and I have been watching you unload carfuls of your personal belongings. The dumpster is a nice touch. Have they found what is in the walls yet? In time, they will. This time, the watcher had addressed Derek and Maria directly. The first letter was only addressed to Derek, okay? So there was misspellings in their name. Mr. and Mrs. Brodus is what it was, basically misspelled. Had the watcher been close enough to hear one of the Broduses, contractors, addressing them, the watcher, oh my God, this is creepy. The watcher boosted of learning a lot about the family in the preceding weeks, especially about their children, which is creepy. The letter identified the Broduses, their kids, by birth order and by their nicknames. Okay. The ones Maria had been yelling, I'm pleased to know your names now and the names of your young blood you have brought to me, it said. You certainly say their names often. The letter asked about the one child in particular whom the writer had seen using an easel inside of the enclosed porch. Is she an artist in the family? So basically, the little girl they have an enclosed porch, and she was outside painting. And in that letter, the watcher asked, is she a painter? Because she was painting. So that means that they are watching. They are watching the construction. They are watching their children. They are watching how often she calls her children. They know the children's names. They know the children's nicknames. I'm referring to the watcher as they. I don't know. It could be one person or more. All of these things, they have to be close. Okay. Otherwise, they wouldn't know these personal details. Now, of course, back then, which it wasn't that long ago, they could have done research and things like that. But how would they know their children's nicknames? And basically, how creepy is it? Imagine your kid is outside playing and someone sends you a letter saying, I know exactly what your kid is doing. I would be paranoid. I would be scared shitless. I'm not even lying. So the letter continues. 657 Boulevard is anxious for you to move in. It has been years and years since the young blood ruled the hallways of this house. Have you found all the secrets it holds yet? Will the young blood play in the basement? Or are they too afraid to go down there alone? I would be afraid if I were them. It is far away from the rest of the house. If you were upstairs, you would never hear them scream. Will they sleep in the attic, or will they sleep on the second floor? Who has the bedrooms facing the street? I'll know as soon as you move in. It will help me to know who is in which bedroom. Then I can plan better. All of the windows and doors in 657 Boulevard allow me to watch you and track you as you move through the house. Who am I? I am the watcher, and I have been in control of 657 Boulevard for the better part of 2 decades now. The Woods family turned it over to you. It was their time to move on, and they kindly sold the house, and I asked them to. I pass by many times a day. 657 Boulevard is my job, my life, my obsession. And now you are too, the Brodus family. Welcome to the product of your greed. Greed is what brought the past 3 families to 657 Boulevard. And now it has brought you to me. Have a happy moving day. You know I will be watching. Okay, so Derek and Maria stopped bringing their kids to the house. After they got that letter, they stopped bringing their kids to the home. They were no longer sure when or if they would move in. Several weeks later, a third letter arrived. Where have you gone to? The watcher wrote. 657 Boulevard is missing you. Many Westfield residents, they compare their town to like Mayberry, the kind of place where a neighbor might greet you with a welcoming note. Westfield is 45 minutes from New York, and It's a bit too slow for singles, meaning the town's 30,000 residents are largely well-to-do families. Bloomberg ranked Westfield the 99th richest city in America, but only the 18th wealthiest in New Jersey. And in 2014, when the watcher struck, the website Neighborhood Scout named it as the country's 30th safest town. The most pressing local issues of late, according to the residents, have been the temporary closure of Trader Joe's after a roof collapse and the rampant source of unconstitutional policing, by which they mean aggressive parking enforcement. So basically, there's nothing like, there's no violence in this town. There's nothing that happens that much. I mean, it happens, you know, anywhere you go, things are gonna happen, but it's a safe town. Everybody knows everybody. Okay. Oh, thank you, Yindi, for the super chat. You are beautiful and classy, and your voice is soothing. And I promise I'm not creepy. I promise I'm not a creepy weirdo, even though reading this book kind of sounds like I might be. You're not a creepy weirdo. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you. That means a lot to me. So this town's not like violence or anything like that. It's the safest town. It's the richest town. Yeah, we get it. So this is weird. Which makes me see, as in, because I don't know if you guys are conspiracy theorists, and if you're not, this might be hard to follow, but I can understand why Netflix went the way that they went with their theories about drug or blood drinking cults and things like that, because to be honest with you, that does happen with the elites. One of the things about the wealthy, one of the things that is very, very on top of their mind, okay? I promise you this. If you're a conspiracy theorist, you know what the fuck I'm talking about. One of the things about the elites, the wealthy, whatever you want to call them, they want to beat death. They want to cheat death. They want to stay young forever. And there is conspiracy theories about the wealthy drinking children's blood, because it's supposed to make them stay younger for a longer period of time. And these are things that they truly believe. So I can understand why Netflix started going that that way with the theories, because it's more of a rich town that they live in, you know. So I could see why Netflix was going where they were going with it. If you guys get my drift. Some of you guys might be like, oh my God, Tia, you're crazy. But I promise you, and we will talk about it one day, but I promise you, with the elites, one of the biggest things that they try to do is cheat death, beat death. They want to live forever. And they think their money can do that. Okay. So that's why sometimes there are conspiracy theories about how, you guys know how sometimes, actually, it's not even really sometimes, it happens a lot, where children go missing and they're never, ever found. In conspiracy theories, they believe that some of the children who go missing and they're never found is because they were sold to, this is obviously deep, but because they were sold to the wealthy, or they were sold, and it actually, there's a true story about it, that it really happened in Paris. And we'll talk about that one day too. So some people might not understand why Netflix kind of went that way. And they might be like, why are they talking about like blood drinking cults and things like that? Well, that's because that's what happens a lot with the wealthy. You know what I mean? So the cream harvest. Is that what it was? I can't remember, but there is a story about a man who used to kidnap children, teenagers too, and sell them to so many like high profile governors, mayors, even like it's crazy, and would sell these kids for different things. But one of those things is younger kids, and we'll talk about it one day. Not now, but we will. So if some of you don't understand why Netflix kind of went that way, now maybe you can get an idea of why they went that way, because it is very true. So let me continue. Hold on. Yep, Pizzagate, Sarah. And I know some people think, oh my God, conspiracy theories. It's so crazy. I get it. I get it. And I don't get mad at people who may think I'm crazy for being a conspiracy theorist. You know what I'm saying? So don't judge people who are, and I think a lot of people get so mad at conspiracy theorists and, can get so judgmental, and it shouldn't be like that, because everyone's entitled to their opinion, and that's how you have to look at it. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying I believe in everything with conspiracy theories, but I do believe a lot of things. And I do believe that when you have money, and you have endless money to a point where you can go to space, where you can buy your way to space, there is probably no limit to the things that you can do and get away with. But that's just my opinion. My opinion. Okay, let's continue. Hold on, let me pull this up again, because if I don't keep touching it, it won't pull up. Okay, where the hell did I leave off at? Hold on, I lost my place. Okay, so one activity all locals recognize as the treacherous is trying to buy a house. There's a lot of money and a lot of ego. One resident who requested anonymity before discussing Westfield real estate told me, and this is a person that's doing investigating and trying to interview people who lived on Westfield Boulevard. Okay, and I'm pretty sure they spoke to a lot of people. It says, I've seen bidding wars where friends lost $300,000. The Brodus' house was on Boulevard, a wide tree-lined street with some of the more desirable homes in town. As the watcher had noted, the boulevard used to be the street to live on. You made it if you lived on the boulevard. So basically, just like I said, it was that area is more for the wealthy. You know what I mean? It's a very, very, if you live on that street, you are considered as having a lot of money and being successful. One of the reasons why the watcher put in that letter, most of the people who moved in here in 657 West Boulevard, whatever, most of the people who moved in there, they moved in there because of greed, right? It's a $1.3 million home. Yes, you have money if you're able to afford a home like that. You know what I'm saying? So that's basically what this person who wanted to remain anonymous meant. If you lived on West Boulevard, you're successful, you're wealthy. And not everybody likes that. Okay. There's some jealous people in the world, and jealous is a powerful, complex emotion. Let's continue. Okay. So where was I at? So the house was built in 1905. 657 Boulevard was perhaps the grandest home on the block. Okay, so that was literally the best home on that whole block. And that is a block where, most of the wealthy live. If you live on Boulevard, you made it. This was the nicest home on the block. Okay, so that should say some things too. and it was built in 1905. So that was a long time ago. That led the Broduses to initially suspect that the watcher might be someone upset over losing out on the house. But the Woodises said one interested buyer had backed out after a bad medical diagnosis, while another had already found a different home. In an email to the Broduses, Andrea Woods, the one who owned the home prior, proposed another theory. Would the mention of the contractor's trucks, your children, suggest that it was someone in the neighborhood? Yeah, could be. The letters did indicate proximity. They had been processed in Kearney, the U.S. Postal Service's distribution center in northern New Jersey. The first was postmarked June 4th, before the sale was public. The Woodises had never put it up for sale. They never put up a for sale sign. And only a day after the contractors arrived, the renovations were mostly interior, and people who lived nearby say they didn't notice any unusual commotion, even from the jackhammering in the basement. When Derek and Maria walked Detective Lugo around the house, they showed him that the easel on the porch was hidden from the street by vegetation, making it difficult to see unless someone was behind the house or right next door. So where the little girl was sitting on the porch, the easel, it wasn't out in the open. It was behind the house, if you guys understand what I'm saying. So this is someone who's close, which obviously makes it even more scary. This is someone who's right there. Now, I'm going to tell you what I would do if it was me. And I invested so much money into a home, a $1.3 million home, my dream home. Anyway, let me finish. Okay. A few days after the first letter, Maria and Derek went to a barbecue across the street, welcoming them and another new homeowner to the block. The Broduses hadn't told anyone about the watcher, as the police had instructed, and found themselves scanning the party for clues while keeping tabs on their kids, who ran skillessly through a crowd that made up a bunch of, it's a huge suspect pool. Everybody's a suspect on this block, right? We kept screaming at them to stay close, Maria said. People must have thought we were crazy. They didn't want to leave the kids out of their sight, even at the barbecue, where it's obviously a very small gathering. But, can you blame them? I sold for $959,000. Oh my goodness, in 2019. Wow. I will have a home like that one day, I'm sure. At one point, Derek was chatting with John Smith, who lived 2 doors down, when Smith told him about the Lanfords who lived between them. Peggy Lanford was in her 90s, and several of her adult children, all in their 60s, lived with her. The family was a bit odd, Smith said, but harmless. He described one of the younger Langfords, I'm probably saying that wrong, Langfords, Michael, who didn't work and had a beard like Ernest Hemingway, as kind of like a Boo Radley character. Derek thought the case was solved. The Langford house was right next to the easel on the porch. The family had lived there since 1960s. When the watcher's father, the letter said, had began observing 657 Boulevard, Richard Langford, the family patriarch, had died 12 years earlier, and the current watcher claims to have been on the job for the better part of 2 decades. When the Broduses told Lugo, which is the detective, about the family, he said he already knew. A week after the first letter arrived, he brought Michael Langford to the police headquarters for an interview. Michael denied knowing anything about the letters, but the Broduses say that Lugo told them the narrative of what he said matched things mentioned in the letters. This isn't CSI Westfield. Lugal later told the Broduses when the wife is dead, it's the husband. But there wasn't much hard evidence, and after a few weeks, the police chief told the Broduses that short of an admission, there wasn't much to the department could do. This is someone who threaten my kids, and the police are saying probably nothing's going to happen. Derek said probably isn't good enough for me. Derek said after the second letter, Derek told the cops that if they didn't pretty much take care of the situation, that they would have a different kind of case on their hands. This person attacked my family and where I'm from, and you have to do something about this, Derek told the detective. So what would you do? You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand, and it pretty much shows the limited of things that happen in that particular neighborhood to a point where I can understand you wanting the police to watch everybody. Everyone's a suspect because you're getting letters. But even though it's scary and creepy, should you really let a letter I don't know. Should you really let a letter make it to where everyone should be investigated and everyone should be watched and everyone should be on surveillance? And should it really be like that? You know, because of letters. Now, the letters are very scary. They are. But do you guys think that it should have been taken that seriously? Everything should be taken seriously, but should it have been to the magnitude of everyone's being investigated, everyone's being watched, everyone on the block should be interviewed, all of the construction workers should be interviewed? Should it have gone that far? Should there had been, you know, because obviously that is a lot of time and money. And I don't know. It just makes me think. I understand that it's a letter. And a lot of the rumors about the Broduses was, you know, they're doing this for money. And we'll talk about the theories because we're almost done. But a lot of people thought that the Broduses themselves were doing this on purpose. Okay. And how I look at it is, I don't think they were. And the reason why I don't think they were is because they had a lot to lose. They didn't gain anything because ultimately they didn't move into the home. They didn't gain anything. If anything, they lost a lot of money from the renovations that they did to the home, you know, paying all the money, $1.3 million to buy the home. They lost way more than they gained. So I don't understand why people would sabotage themselves like that on purpose and almost put themselves into financial debt for what? And another thing too that needs to be kept in mind is they could be going around doing interviews, and people still to this day are talking about this story. Netflix bought the rights to this story a long time ago. Now, them buying the rights to this story, maybe they paid the Broduses. I don't know the details of it. But all I'm saying is that it definitely doesn't seem like something that they would do. Like, why would they endanger or even make their kids think that they were in danger? You know, everybody on the block. I just don't think they had anything to do with it. But that is literally one of the theories, that the Broduses were doing this themselves to get out of buying the house. But they already closed in on the house, you guys. So that doesn't make any sense. And I feel like they could be making way more money till this day if they wanted to. They could be going around, you know, getting interviews, and they just want to move on with their lives. They would prefer nobody talk about it at all. But of course, people are going to talk about it because this is interesting. This is like, imagine something like this happening to you. It's easy for us to be standing on the outside and say, I mean, come on, it's just a letter. But what if it was happening to you? What if you just moved into your dream home? Pretty soon we're going to be moving into a new home. If I was to get letters like that, and especially when they involve your children, I don't know how I would react. Nobody really nobody does know. You know what I mean? So I don't know, you guys. Okay, let's continue. Frustrated, the Broduses began their own investigation. Derek became especially obsessed. He set up webcams in 657 Boulevard and spent nights crouched in the dark, watching to see if anyone was watching the house at close range. Maria thought I was crazy, he told me recently at a coffee shop in Manhattan, where he covered a table with documents relating to the case, including copies of the letter, which he and his wife had shared with only a few friends and family members. He showed me a map displaying when each of 657 neighbors had moved in. The Langfords were the only ones there since the 1960s, with the overlays marking possible sight lines for the easel and a circle for approximate range of earshot to estimate who might have heard Maria yelling their kids' names. Only a few homes fit both criteria. So it has to be somebody. I think I'll tell you guys at the end. Anyway, the Broduses had also they had also turned to several experts. They employed a private investigator who staked out the neighborhood and ran background checks on the Langfords, but didn't find anything noteworthy. Derek reached out to a former FBI agent who served as an inspiration for the Clarice Starling and the Silence of the Lambs. They were on a high school board of trustees together, and they also hired Robert, is it Linehan, another former FBI agent, to conduct a threat assessment. And Lehan recognized several old-fashioned ticks in the letter that pointed to the older writer. The envelope was addressed to M.M. Brodus. The salutations included the days of the weather, warm and humid, sunny and cool for summer day, and the sentences had double spaces between them. The letter had certain, like, I don't know, it was a certain way that it was written, like certain penmanship, which suggested a ferocious reader, a surprising lack of profanity, given the level of anger, which Leningham had thought meant less macho writer. Maybe he wondered the Watcher had seen The Watcher, starring Keanu Reeves, as a serial killer who stalks the detective trying to catch him, which I didn't know that was out there. Leningham didn't think the Watcher was likely to act on any of his threats, but the letters had enough typos and errors to imply a certain erraticism. I can't pronounce that. The first letter was dated Tuesday, June 4th, but the day was Wednesday. That's a clue there. There was also a seething anger directed at the wealthy. That's what I noticed too. In particular, the Watcher was upset by the new moving into a town, like someone new moving into his town. That house particularly, it was something that stood out to that FBI investigator. Are you one of those who book in transplants who are ruining the Westfield by the Brodus' relatively modest renovations? I don't think their renovations was modest. I mean, it's a beautiful home, but I think they did a lot of renovations. I don't think the renovations were modest. The house is crying from all of the pain it is going through. This was in the third letter. The house was crying from all of the pain that it is going through. You have changed it and made it so fancy. You are stealing its history. It cries for the past and what used to be in time when it roamed the hallways. The 1960s were a good time for 657 Boulevard when I ran from room to room, imagining the life with the rich occupants there. The house was full of life and young blood. Young blood is mentioned a lot in these letters. Then it got old, so did my father, but he kept watching until the day he died. And now I watch and wait for the day when the young blood will be mine again. That was in the third letter. And I feel like in this third letter, all this person's talking about is young blood. You guys get why Netflix went that route? But also, why does it seem like the person who's saying that they roam the hallways of 657 Boulevard from room to room, imagining the life with the rich occupants there? So it just makes you think, is this a person who maybe was the child of a nanny who maybe worked there, who didn't really live there, but the nanny worked there and he was with his mother while she worked in the home as a nanny, and he imagined living there? I don't know. My thoughts go deep with this. Like, it's very interesting. Lenihan recommended looking into former housekeepers. Oh my God. Oh my God. I knew it. I knew I was on the right track. Like, don't you think that a housekeeper, like say you're a housekeeper, you're going to clean a house and you take your child along with you, right? And your child is like, oh my God, mom, look at this home. And he's just running around looking at all the, houses, or not the houses, but the rooms, like, man, hopefully one day we can live here, and then thinking to themselves, you rich motherfuckers. You know what I mean? Like, I'm telling you, I could be a detective, you guys. Okay. Where did I leave off at? Okay. Lenihan recommended looking into a former housekeepers on their descendants. Perhaps the watcher was jealous that the Broduses had bought a home that the writer couldn't afford. That's what I'm saying. Like, what if it was a child who, grew up in this home, but only grew up in this home because he went to work with his mom or dad, whatever, who was a nanny for this home or a housekeeper for the home, and was like, wow, look at this house. I wish I could live here, And maybe when he got older, he tried to purchase the home, but he never had enough money, because in the letters, it screams jealousy. It does, because this person keeps constantly saying in the letters, it's always the greedy people who get this home. It's always the greedy, the overly people who want to live that rich lifestyle. You know what I mean? There's so many things that I'm thinking with this. It could be anybody, to be honest with you. That's why the Netflix series was so good, because you literally suspected everyone. The only person that I did not suspect was the daughter's boyfriend. I didn't suspect him. I didn't think he had anything to do with it. But I suspected, like, everyone. I especially the realtor. The realtor, I suspected her. My fiance suspected the realtor. So it's just like, but you would have to suspect anyone when it comes to this, because whoever this person is, it's a person that's watching very closely. That's what I thought when I first heard the story. Has to be someone seriously jealous and envious. Yes, that's what I think. That's what I think, Rian. Okay, so it's pretty much almost done. Okay, so hold on, let me make sure I don't. But the focus remained on the length Langfords. In cooperation with Westfield Police, the Broduses sent a letter to the Langfords announcing plans to tear down the house, hoping to prompt a response. Nothing happened, though. Detective Lugo brought Michael Langford in for a second interview but got nowhere, and his sister. Abby accused the police of harassing their family. Eventually, the Broduses hired Lee Leavitt, a lawyer who met the several members of the Langford family, as well as their attorney, to show them the letters, along with the photos explaining how their home was one of their favorite vantage points from which the easel could be seen. The meeting grew tense, Levitz told me, and the Langfords insisted Michael was innocent. One night, Derek had a dream in which he confronted Peggy, the eldest Langford, and demanded she build an 8-foot fence between the properties. An 8-foot fence. Wow. Okay. Maria was having other kinds of dreams. One night, she woke up and especially vivid one. It was a vivid dream about a man who lived nearby. He was wearing these boots and carrying a pitchfork and calling to the kids, and I couldn't get to them in time, Maria said. She thought almost anyone could be the watcher, which made daily life very, very hard. Navigating their life with threats and all that has to be hard on anyone. She probed their faces of shoppers at Trader Joe's to see if they looked strangely at her kids and spent hours Googling anyone who seemed suspicious. See, I couldn't live like that. Like if I lived in well, they didn't technically live there, but if I was so paranoid to where I'm going everywhere and everybody that I see or anybody who looks at my kids in a certain way, I'm trying to Google everybody, that would have to be hard. I get that. I get why they chose to not. I get why they chose to sell the house ultimately, because that would be hard. But I don't know if I would do what they did. I don't know if I would handle it this way. But that's just me. There were reasons to consider other suspects. For one thing, the police spoke to Michael before the second letter was sent, which would make sending 2 more especially reckless. The Broduses say that Lugo told them that they wouldn't receive any more letters after he spoke to Michael. Then there was the rest of the neighborhood to consider. The private investigator found 2 child sex offenders within a few blocks. Bill Woodward, the Broduses' house painter, had also noticed something very strange. A couple behind 657 Boulevard kept a pair of lawn chairs strangely close to the Brodus' property. One day, I was looking out the window and I saw this older guy sitting in one of his chairs. Woodward told me. He wasn't facing his house, he was facing the Brodus' house. But by the end of 2014, the investigation had stalled. The watcher had left no digital trail, no fingerprints, and no way the place that they once called a home was obviously unfamiliar to them. Once they were looking at this home, they found this home. It was their dream home. They spent a lot of money. They renovated it, and it's not home anymore. They're not even considering that this place is going to be home because they're so paranoid everywhere that they turn. It's something. The letters, the watcher had left no digital trail, no fingerprints, and no way. And to place someone at the scene of the crime that could have been hatched from pretty much any mailbox in northern New Jersey, the letters could be read closely for possible clues or dismissed as a non-cynical ramblings of a sociopath. It was like trying to find a needle in a haystack, said Scott Cross, who helped investigate the case. Scott Cross is another one who helps investigate the case, and the police told the Broduses that they had run out of options. Derek showed the letters to his priest, who agreed to bless their home. So the priest came and blessed their home, and that didn't work. Okay. The renovations to 657 Boulevard, including a new alarm system, were finished within a few months, but the idea of moving and filled the Broduses with overwhelming anxiety. Could they let their kids play outside or have friends over? Would they get a new letter every week? Derek priced out trained German shepherds, okay, and posted a job on a website for military veterans. All you have to do is work out in the backyard every day. But the Broduses hadn't bought 657 to feel bunkered in a fortress. Like, they didn't want to feel trapped. At the end of the day, it came down to this: what are we willing to risk? Maria told me. We weren't going to put our kids in harm's way. Derek had been responding to occasional alarms at the house, sometimes in the middle of the night, bringing a knife with him just in case. They were so joyous about their new home, and then within days they were petrified, Bill Woodward, the painter, said. I'm a stranger, and Maria was crying and shaking in my arms. It didn't help that the watcher seemed to be getting more and more unhinged. So this is the fourth letter. This is the fourth or the fifth, I'm pretty sure. This is from the watcher. Dear Broduses, 657 Boulevard is turning on me. It is coming after me. I don't understand why. What spell did you cast on it? It used to be my friend, and now it is my enemy. I am in charge of 657 Boulevard. It is not in charge of me. I will fend off its bad things and wait for it to become a good place again. It will not punish me. I will rise again. I will be patient and wait for this to pass and for you to bring the young blood back to me. 657 Boulevard needs young blood. It needs you. Come back. Let the young blood play again like I once did. Let the young blood sleep in 657 Boulevard. Stop changing it and let it alone. That's what the hell it said in the letter, that damn watcher. The Broduses had sold their home, so they moved in with Maria's parents while continuing to pay the mortgage and property taxes on 657 Boulevard. I had to do things like shovel the driveway, Derek said. Just picture that little indignity. I'd go at 5 in the morning, then come back and do it again at my in-laws. They told only a handful of friends about the letters, which left others to ask why they weren't moving in, legal issues, they said, and wonder if they were getting a divorce. People thought the Broduses weren't going to be together anymore. They fought constantly, and they started taking medication to fall asleep. Derek was depressed. Maria decided to see a therapist after a routine doctor's appointment that began with question, "How are you?" caused her to burst into tears. The therapist said she was suffering from post-traumatic stress that wouldn't go away until they got rid of the house. 6 months after the letters arrived, the Broduses decided to sell 657 Boulevard. They initially listed it for more than they paid to reflect the renovations they'd done, but few worlds are more gossipy than suburban New Jersey real estate, and rumors had already begun to swirl about why the house sat empty. One broker emailed to say her client loved it, but that there were so many unsubstantiated rumors flying around, ranging from sexual predator to stalker, that they needed to know more. The Broduses sent a partial disclosure mentioning the letters to interested buyers and told Coldwell Banker, their realtor, that they intended to show the full letters to anyone whose offer was accepted. Several preliminary bids came to well below the asking price, but the Broduses weren't ready to take such a financial hit and only wanted to share the letters with likely buyers. So people were only asking way, way below what they had already paid, which is why I told you, you guys, they lost with this. They didn't gain anything. But the Broduses insisted, I don't know how to live through what we did, and I think you would do it to somebody else, Derek said. Derek and Maria thought about what they would have done had the previous owners told them about their letter. The Watcher, the Woodeses, both retired scientists, told the Broduses that they remembered the letter they received, a more strange than threatening letter, thanking them for taking care of the house. They say they never had any issues. We certainly never felt watched, Andrea told them. They rarely even locked the doors. But the Broduses felt the name alone was ominous enough to merit mentioning to the new family moving in. And on June 2nd, 2015, a year after buying 657 Boulevard, they filed a legal complaint against the Woodeses, arguing that the Woodeses should have disclosed the letter just as they had in fact told about the water in the basement. The Broduses say they hope to reach to a quiet settlement. Their kids still didn't know about the Watcher, and their lawyer assured them that at most a small legal newswire might pick up the story. So they sued the prior owners because to them, they felt like the prior owners, the Woodeses, the Woods, whatever, should have told them about the letter that they got. And from what they're saying, they only got one letter. I personally don't believe it, but that's just my opinion. But the Broduses feel like, why didn't you even tell us about the one letter? And I can think of different reasons why they might not have wanted to say anything. I mean, come on, would you say anything? I mean, I would, because that's just me. But I don't know. To sue them, I don't know. We do some creepy stories, Tamron Hall said on the Today Show a few weeks later. This might be our top 10 creepiest story. A local reporter had found the complaint, which included snippets of the Watcher's menacing threats, and after a belated attempt by the Broduses to seal it, the story went viral. News trucks camped out at 657 Boulevard, and one local reporter set up a lawn chair to conduct his own watch. The Broduses got more than 300 media requests, but with advice from their crisis management consultant, referred by one of Derek's colleagues, they decided not to speak publicly to spare their kids even more attention. They vacated Westfield and went to a friend's beach house. They didn't find much peace. Maria's grandfather had a heart attack, and the friend they were staying with had a grand mal seizure. Eventually, Derek and Maria sat down with their children to explain the reason why they hadn't moved into their new home. The kids had plenty of questions. Who is the Watcher? Where does this person live? Why is this person angry with us? To which Derek and Maria had a few answers. Can you imagine that conversation with the 5-year-old? Derek told me. Your town isn't safe. Your town is not as safe as you think it is. And there's a boogeyman obsessed with you. I guess that would be the best way to describe it. From a safer distance, the Watcher was a real-life mystery to solve. A commenter on NJ.com suggested ground-penetrating radar to find whatever the Watcher claimed was in the walls. The home inspector had already looked and told Derek the only issue was the aging home's lack of insulation. A group of Reddit users observed and also obsessed over Google Maps Street View and showed a car parked in front of 657 that one of the users thought had a man holding a camera in a driver's seat. Others more rationally saw a pixelated glare. The range of proposed suspects included a jilted mistress, a Spurn realtor, a local high school's creative writing project, a guerrilla marketing for a horror story, and a male goths having fun. Some people just thought the Broduses were wimps for not moving in. I would never let this sicko stop me from moving into my dream house. Never back down from a terrorist, which inked, it irked the Broduses. I mean, it made them mad. None of them have read the letters or had their children threatened by someone they didn't know, Derek said. To decide whether this person if this person's only nuts enough to actually go through with what they were writing, what if something did happen? In Westfield, people were on edge. Lori Clancy, who teaches piano lessons in her house behind 657 Boulevard, told me one of my students came for a lesson shortly after the news of the Watchers broke and started bawling. She was terrified to walk down Boulevard, Clancy said. At the first Westfield Town Council meeting, after the letters became public, Mayor Andy Skibitzy assured the public that the Watcher hadn't been heard from in a year and that even though the police hadn't solved the case, their investigation had been exhausted. This was news to 657 neighbors, most of whom had never heard of this from the cops. We were confounded for us to know that there was an investigation going on. How were people thoroughly investigated if they weren't questioned? Nobody knew. So how many people did the police question? Wouldn't the police want to question like everybody in the neighborhood? But there were people in the neighborhood that didn't know anything about this. So how much of a proper investigation did the police actually do? Right? I don't know. While the Broduses continued to be consumed by stress and fear for the rest of Westfield, the story became a little bit more creepier. It became more of an urban legend, a house to walk by on Halloween if you were brave enough. No one had lived in the house before the Woodeses could recall anything unusual, and it was hard for people to imagine that their neighborhood could be like a host to something sinister. A woman who lives nearby told me after the news broke, she and 10 or so of her neighbors had gathered in the street to puzzle out who might have sent the letters. Eventually, she said they came to a consensus. Maybe the Broduses had sent the letters to themselves. The theory so far, as it went, was the Broduses had suffered buyer's remorse or realized they couldn't afford the home and concocted an elaborate scheme to get out of the sale, or Derek was cooking up some kind of insurance fraud, or they were angling for a movie deal. The Broduses received several offers but turned them down. Lifetime eventually released a movie called The Watcher, despite a cease and desist letter from the Broduses arguing that the couple in its movies were biracial, and the letters were signed The Raven. Some locals found it noteworthy that over the course of a decade, the Broduses had upgraded from a $315,000 house to a $770,000 house to a $1.3 million home. One and refinances their mortgages. A few weeks after the letters began public, the Westfield Leader published an article in which anonymous neighbors were quoted asking why the Broduses kept renovating a home they weren't moving into, or questioning whether they had really done that much renovating at all. This is evidence the fact that they had a public Facebook page with a photo of their kids. The paper did not note that the police had tested Maria's DNA and it didn't match. None of the theories made much logical sense. The Broduses had answers to every question. How does someone go from a $300,000 house to a $1.3 million house in 10 years? Derek told me it's America. Okay, that's the answer. but they weren't speaking publicly at the rumors as they persisted. One Boulevard resident wrote a letter to the editor arguing that an elaborate scheme is underway to defraud the Woods family for millions of dollars. Because remember, the Broduses are suing the Woods. Okay, the Wooduses. Chambliss told me some Westfield cops even bought into the theory. There were even more skeptics online. I live in a neighboring town. If these letters had been happening for a while, there is no doubt in my mind that it would have been made public way before this. Lord Fluffer Nutter said on Reddit, "This screams a scam." The Broduses hadn't known how their neighbors would react to the news about the Watcher, but they had lived in an area for a decade, and Maria's family had been a part of the community for much longer, so it was shocking to find themselves accused of being con artists. To Derek, it seemed that some of the Westfields preferred the conspiracy theory to considering whether their town might be a home to a menace. There's a natural tendency to say, "I've lived here for 35 years, nothing happened to me," Derek said. "What happened to my family is an affront to their contention that they're safe, that there's no such thing as mental illness in their community. People don't want to believe this could happen to Westfield." While Maria looks back fondly on her childhood, she was born a few years after Westfield residents John List infamously murdered his wife, mother, and 3 children in their home, and remembers a period when she and other kids were warned to look out for a strange van driving around town. My mother always told me, "Don't have false sense of security. Don't ever have a false sense of security." It wasn't that bad things were going to happen all the time. It was that bad things could happen everywhere. She didn't want me to think that this is Mayberry. Many locals I spoke to did seem more concerned that the national press might ruin Westfield's good name. Some were primarily worried about arson or vandalism or whether the Broduses would maintain the lawn. Mark Lagrippo, the neighborhood's representative of the Westfield Town Council, told me the primary concern he heard from residents was that they were worried more about the property value and the stigma of the neighborhood. The Broduses were suddenly outcast, not only from their home, but also their town. Derek wanted to leave Westfield, but Maria insisted on not uprooting their kids. "This person took so much from us," Maria told me. "I wouldn't let them take more." 2 years after the Watcher's letters arrived, the Broduses borrowed money from the family members to buy a second home in Westfield, using an LLC to keep the location private. But staying in that town was stressful. The first time Maria let her daughter go to the pool with friends, she started at the tracker on her daughter's iPhone the whole entire time. One of their kids was in a language arts class. When the teacher had a debate about whether the family in a book they were reading should move to Westfield, the class thought there should, in a part of how it was safe. Because of how it was safe. Afterwards, one of the kids told the Brodus' child, "My parents told me that no matter what your family says, Westfield isn't safe." Wow. Okay. So there is so much more to this story. I'm going to link this article for you guys, but I want to talk about theories now. But there's a lot. I will honestly say this is awesome that this person writing this story was able to interview the Broduses because they really haven't had an interview by anybody, to be honest with you. I think the only person that interviewed them was like maybe the local news or something, but nobody has been able to interview them. If they were doing this for money, wouldn't they be like going to interviews? I thought that was weird how they sent Lifetime, because Lifetime did a cheesy movie, okay? They were the first to, they didn't have rights to the story like Netflix did, but of course Netflix took it upon themselves to do a movie about based on The Watcher, the true story. And there were biracial people, but of course they have to change it because they didn't have rights to the story. So they had to change it in order to, make the movie, because if they would have made it exactly the way that it was, then they could be sued. So, um, in my opinion, and I do want to read some of you guys' theories, I think that this true story is very, very creepy. Lifetime did what Lifetime does best. Exactly. It was such a bad movie, like very, very bad. But then, I don't feel like the Broduses should have even tried to reach out to them and like get mad because, it wasn't right and the names weren't right. Well, of course, it's not going to be right. They didn't have rights to it. You know what I'm saying? So they have to change it, you know? But you guys remember that Britney Spears movie, The Lifetime? Oh my God. Like, bye. Um, I like me some Lifetime movies, but they literally blow it sometimes, don't they? Like, they don't, they get it wrong sometimes. Most of the time. I like some of their movies, like Wife Swap. Wife Swap. But yeah, they don't get it right. But anyway, what do you guys think? Tell me what you guys think. Sorry, when you see that when I sharpen my eyeliner, there's like sharp shavings everywhere. I'm trying to blow them into the trash. It has to be someone who could blend in with the locals, like an older person, and couldn't get close enough to the house to get the info without raising suspicion. Someone who played in the house too. That's what I'm saying. That's what I think. I really truly think, and this is just my opinion, I think that it was someone who lived in that house, not lived in the house, but visited that house. Like maybe a housekeeper, it was a housekeeper or maybe a nanny, and they would go with their mother to that home and dreamed about living in that home one day, kind of just like they said in the letter, roam the hallways and looking at the rooms. And then when they got to a certain age, they probably tried to buy the home themselves and they couldn't because they couldn't afford it. And that's where the jealousy comes from. And that's where they're talking about everyone who has purchased this home is usually stemmed from greed because people want to keep up with the Joneses and all that kind of stuff. So that's what I think. And that could be anyone because whoever it was, maybe because they couldn't purchase 657, then maybe they purchased a home close to 657 that they could afford and literally sat there and admired this home and looked at this home and wished that they could have this home and got jealous of whoever lived in the home. Now, what do you guys think about the prior owners? So the prior owners, like I told you guys, were the Woods. And they were both scientists, obviously. Scientists, they make good money. So they were both scientists, and they actually let the Broduses know about everything that was wrong with the home. Like there was some water, some water damage in the basement. There were some things that they obviously told the Broduses, but they never told the Broduses that they once did get a letter. So because when they told the Broduses that they got one letter and they didn't think anything of it, the Broduses filed a legal complaint against them because they felt like, if you told us about everything that happened in the home, you should have told us about that one letter. Now, this is just my theory, and you guys can let me know your theories, but I personally think that they got more than just one letter. Okay. I think the Woods got more letters and they probably just ripped them up and threw them away. I don't think they told the Broduses because they didn't want to scare them into not buying the home. But maybe the letters weren't as bad as the letters that were written to the Broduses, because that's one thing that I could not see. I don't know if they were scientists. I don't know if they had children. I don't know if the Woods had children. So to me, it would make sense if they didn't have children compared to the Broduses, because it's kind of crazy how this psycho writing them a letter is focusing on the children the most. You know what I'm saying? Like constantly talking about the children, constantly talking about young blood, young blood, young blood. Now you understand why, if you watch the Netflix series, and if you haven't watched the Netflix series, you should watch it. That's why you kind of understand why they focused on the things that they focused on as far as theories are concerned. The new family, yes, they had young children, but I don't think the family prior had children. So maybe that's why the family that lived prior in the home, the Woods, maybe the Watcher didn't write them those kind of letters because they don't have children. And then when the Broduses moved in and they have 3 beautiful children, maybe that's why the letters changed. Does that make sense? I think it's the realtor. I got creepy vibes from her. I think she was a daughter of a housekeeper and was envious of people who could afford homes at that price. The Watcher is pissed at rich people. I agree. Oh, thank you, Victoria. You're so sweet. Thank you, Rianne. Love you. Love you guys. The young blood thing made me think of a foster child who loved the house but knew they wouldn't be there long. Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think the reason why this story is so popular and so many people talk about it. Hey, Phoenix. So many people talk about it. So many people are intrigued by it. So many people want to still to this day try to figure out who it is. I mean, it still remains unsolved, you guys. Nobody knows who wrote those letters. But I guess the other question I would have for you guys, if you purchased a home, your dream home, for $1.3 million, would you let something like that chase you out of your home? It's easy for us to say no, but it hasn't happened to us. So we don't know what it would feel like if someone's writing letters saying that they're focusing, because that's basically the gist of the whole thing. This Watcher was focusing on their children a lot more than the adults. When you're constantly saying young blood, and I wonder if your kids play in the basement, okay? The basement is way far away, and you guys would never hear your children scream. So that's just basically inflicting threats upon their 3 beautiful, innocent children. So, like, even though obviously that's wrong, I understand why they left. Now, even to tell you a further backstory of the Broduses, thank you, Phoenix. Thank you for the super sticker, beautiful. I appreciate you. Thank you so much, sweetie. If you believe cults, yes. If you believe realtor, no, I wouldn't move. Well, see, here's the thing. So even after they moved out of that home, like I told you guys, and there's so much more to the story, and I will link the article so you guys can go and read it for yourself. But she is now, the wife Maria is suffering from PTSD. Okay, she has PTSD, which is horrible within itself. Like, can you imagine getting PTSD from something like this? Constantly being afraid, constantly being paranoid. Like, I don't know if it would be that way for me because everybody handles things differently, but I think what did it for them and what would do it for me too is when you know someone is out there watching your kids. That's scary. That we want to protect our children. It's our job as parents to protect our children. So we don't want anything horrible to happen. But I don't know if I would move. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I don't. I feel like the angrier they got, the worse the letters got. And whoever it was sending them the letters, I think that it was just a game that they were trying to play. I think it was a game. I think they were trying to um, chase them out, to chase them away. And I found the theories that Netflix came up with like people getting mad about the renovations and how people were so possessive over the home and, you know, the cults and different things like that. It's like, I just don't think I would leave, you guys. I mean, I think I would ignore, like the Woods said that they did. They lived there for how many years? I don't believe they only got one letter, though. I don't. But I personally wouldn't move. I think it would take a lot. Like, I would probably try to maybe hire some security, my, you know, guns, whatever. I just, if you work so hard for something like that, I wouldn't let a cycle like that take it away from me. I think I'd move, but big old houses scare me anyway. Yeah, and that is a bigger, older house. I would call their bluff. I'd install cameras and alarm systems. Exactly. I think the watcher scared the older Woods out of the house and to sell it to a young family, or perhaps paid the Woods to do it. Different objective, different letters. Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting, Deb. I I don't know. I would have put a post-it note in my mailbox for them to see that said pull up. Right? If they admitted to one letter, you know they got more, right? Could it have been one of the locals, like one of the people renovating, who picked up a story slash obsession with the house from their parents? Young blood is just such an old timey language. It is. It is. I definitely think that it's somebody from the past. Like, I feel like it's somebody who roams. I feel like they're telling the truth when they say I roams around the homes, I looked in every bedroom, blah 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 blah. I personally do think that whoever this person was is somebody who grew up in that home but didn't live there. Okay? But they were there every day. You know what I'm saying? And I think that when they got older, they probably tried to get the home. And when they couldn't get that home, they ended up purchasing the next best thing, which is probably somewhere close to 657. And they just watched 657 with envy and jealousy, and jealous because they see this happy family move in, you know, and this very wealthy family renovating the home, turning the home into their own, and they didn't like it. And they just started sending letter after letter, knowing that if they used their kids, that they would leave. That's what I think. This happened in 2004. Hold on. Let me make sure. I know it happened way sooner than that. This happened in 2014. Sorry, I was way off. Close, but way off. Yeah, it happened in 2014. Yeah, there's some people I just don't hear young blood. I agree with you, stranger. I don't hear young blood very often. Um, it's a very like if you think about it, even though it's scary, it's also very sad because you have this family who is now permanently damaged from the paranoia that they experienced in the home, that home, the mental trauma that they experienced by constantly staying on their toes and constantly thinking that someone's watching them and most importantly watching their children. So just like the mom said, Maria, this is something that she's going to deal with for the rest of her life. And when people say that they made this up themselves, I can see that theory. I can see why people would think that. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because it just doesn't add up. Like, I think just the way the whole thing happened wasn't adding up to me. However, I do personally think that they lost way more than what they earned. They lost so much. First of all, they had to take a lower offer on the house. Okay. So they lost money when it comes to the house. Then think about the renovations that they did to the home. They're spending thousands of dollars on the renovation. Okay. Then, do you guys know how much private investigators cost? Former FBI investigators, how much that cost? So they lost probably a total of $400,000. So they didn't gain anything from this. So that's why I find it hard to believe that they would put themselves through that for what? I don't personally believe that they did it on their own. And most of those theories come from Reddit when you read up on it. And if the series continues, I will definitely be talking about this again. But most people do think that they did this on their own, that they started. I don't believe it though. It does, like, if they were gaining something by this and they were taking interviews left and right and being a part of the series with Netflix, which they're not a part of it, or being a part of movies being made, then I would be like, okay, they are gaining from this, so maybe they did have something to do with it. But no, I don't think that they did this on their own. I truly think that this happened to them, and it's very sad because it's something that they're going to have to deal with for the rest of their life, and the internet is forever. One day that their kids are going to have even more questions. And just imagine, I couldn't imagine explaining to my 6-year-old, we're not moving into our dream home because we're getting all these letters of this person threatening you and threatening your brother and your sister, you know? She murdered 650 virgin girls in order to bathe in their blood. Hold on. Wait a minute. In order to bathe in their blood and preserve their youth? Where did you hear that from, Rock Serenity? What story are you talking about? Oh my god, they're so loud. Sorry, you guys. And they keep running back and forth in here too. Sorry. But thank you. They sold the rights to their story to Netflix, but the NYT reported that they didn't even make enough money to cover what they lost in selling the home for such a huge loss. Yeah. Yeah, that's why are you talking about and I didn't even hear about this particular lady until I watched American Horror Story. And that's actually a true story in the American Horror Story, when she would have black slaves in her home You know, she would have, obviously, that was back in slavery, and she would kill these slaves, the younger slaves, and preserve their blood. So I don't know if that's the story you're talking about, Rock Serenity, but that's crazy that it was 650. We have our own real horror house in Louisiana, Medea. Yes, that's who it is. I will talk. You know what? I want to talk about that story. That is such a sad, very interesting story. And if you are a American Horror Story fanatic like I am, which I love American Horror Story, but I don't like the recent one that they just did. I don't like it. I'm not into it. Um, a couple of the episodes I am, but the whole thing in general, no. Um, but that was a true story with Kathy Bates, and she literally had slaves in her home, and the younger slaves she would kill and preserve their blood. Tia Symone, oh yeah, that's definitely a true story. I just mentioned that she would torture them horribly, and the details are gruesome. It's so bad, you guys. It's so fucking bad. Oh, thank you, Deb. I'm immune to kid noise. I don't even notice it. That sounds like Rianne. And that there are people who go and visit that home. So they are. Yeah, I want to talk about that story because that is a very, very sad story. It's so sad. Like, she did some of the most horrible things to them, you guys. Like, she would take off their legs, their arms, their lips. It was so fucking bad. Like, ugh. But it's history, and it's something that needs to be talked about. So it was just so bad. And she ended up getting arrested too. We'll talk about it. Don't worry. So far, the storyline sucks for this season, right, Felony Melanie? Like, don't get me wrong, I'm very interested in aliens and the paranormal. I'm interested in all of those things, but I'm just not into it with American Horror Story this time. It's just not, it's not working for me. And normally I am. Yeah, she killed a baby and used his blood for facial moisturizer. Yep. She was evil to the core. The devil in the flesh, that woman was. I like American Horror Story, but I don't like American Horror Stories with the individual episodes. I do like the individual episodes. My favorite was The Coven. That's one of my favorites with American Horror Story. Just that whole series in general. But like I said, I'm into aliens and all that stuff, but I'm just not into this one. I'm just not into it. Reminds me of people who hold their weddings at actual former plantation homes where owners brutalized their slaves. But now it's a fun place for weddings and proms. That's just, no, isn't that weird? It's very weird. But people actually do go and visit the home of where that lady did that to her slaves. They'll actually go and visit it. And there have been celebrities who have purchased that home too. Nicolas Cage purchased that home. Somebody else, one other celebrity did too. Coven in the first season were the best. I agree. Hold on, I'm just reading comments. So ultimately, that's what I think, you guys. I think that the story is obviously going to remain an urban legend. It still remains unsolved. I think that they should continue to investigate it, because at the end of the day, look, that's someone who was chased out of their own home. There were threats being made to, the Broduses. So I do think that they should still try to figure out who that was. I mean, not even just out of curiosity, like who the fuck would that be? Who would be that demented to write those types of letters and then, you know, threaten children? Okay? So it should be taken seriously. And I want to know who it was. I'm sure everybody does. So that I feel like they should still be like investigating it, but in the same sense, um in my opinion, I just think that it's they're never going to find out who it was. I'm not being negative. I just don't think they will, because I think it's somebody who is very close. I think it's somebody who lives on that street. And I think it's somebody who knows what the hell they're doing and obviously smarter than the police. And it's actually, if you look deeper into the entire story, it's actually very sad. It's very sad that they're now, you know, going through, medical illnesses, mental illnesses, because of everything that they had to endure when they lived in that home. And it was their dream home. Imagine buying your dream home and kind of being forced out of it, because someone's sending threats to your children. So it's sad. And I do hope that they find out who it is one day. But I'm liking the Netflix series. And I suggest, if you don't watch Netflix, if you don't like, if you haven't seen the series, look into it. It's very interesting. It's addicting, because it's literally, I love the way they embodied the very real true story of the Watcher, because everyone is a suspect. Everyone that you see, you're like, no, it's that person. It's the realtor. No, it's the lady across the street. No, it's the couple across the street. No, it's all of them together. They are all in on it. It's just very it's like a thriller, psychological thriller that kind of keeps you on the edge of your seat. So I really do like it. And that's why I wanted to talk about the true story, because I feel like Netflix nailed it with the true part. But of course, they have to, over dramatize things to make it more interesting. They have to throw their own little theories in there. And I think that it's really interesting how they threw the theory about the blood cult, specifically because the Watcher is constantly writing young blood, young blood. And if you look deeper into it, young blood means something. Okay? And there are people like the elites, the wealthy, that drink young blood. And it's true. I don't care what anybody says. Um, it's true that they think that it's going to prolong their life. They think it's going to make them look younger. And like I told you guys, one of the biggest things with elites is in the wealthy is they think that they can buy their way out of death, that they can cheat death somehow. If you ever look around you and pay attention to the things that are going on around you, there are a lot of big CEOs and big companies that are stepping down. And there's a reason why they're stepping down. They're stepping down because they know something's coming. And they all have the money to leave this planet. And it is what it is. They all have the money to build shit underground that we don't know about. So the way my mind works is pretty crazy. But I think that ultimately, if it was me, I wouldn't have left. I would have said, fuck you. I'm ripping up this motherfucking piece of shit letter. You come in my house, you suffer the consequences. That's it. You're not coming in my house. Okay. I would leave a letter in the mailbox and hope that they get my letter. And I would threaten them and I would tell them, you aren't coming into my house. You're not messing with my damn kids. And if you do come into my house, just know I have the right to defend myself. But I don't think that I would probably be paranoid, but I don't think I would let it push me out of my dream home. but that's just my opinion. I mean, agreed, criminals, but drinking young blood? Yes. Yes, Joanne. And like I said, you don't have to agree with me. You don't. But don't think that just because I think this way that it's wrong, because it's not. Not to me, it's not. But to you, you might be like, and people do say this to me. Okay, Teaya, that's enough. Okay, you're conspiracy theorists. We get it. I've spoken with people. I've debated with people. I can have an educated debate, but you can't debate with someone who's not willing to look at things from your perspective. Okay. So I'm a conspiracy theorist, and conspiracy theorists believe things that you would seriously be like, I can't believe you believe this. But we do. And even though you may disagree, it still boils down to an opinion, and everyone's entitled to their opinion. You know what I'm saying? And you have to look at it like that. Some people don't, they get very offended over people who are conspiracy theorists. And I think it's absolutely ridiculous, because at the end of the day, it's an opinion. It doesn't mean it's true. That's why they call it a conspiracy. I think conspiracy theories and theorists are interesting. I do. It's very interesting. It forces you to open up your mind to the impossible. And it also makes you understand in a lot of ways, or opens your mind to understanding that coincidences do not exist. They just don't. When things, I can see maybe once, but when things start happening, coincidence after coincidence, it's not a coincidence. Not, and this is how I'll end it with this. When you are watching a movie, or even a video by one of your favorite artists, when you see things flashing in your face, and you see numbers, or you see celebrities constantly being in the bathtub, or you see them dropping their album at a certain time on a full moon at this, those are not coincidences. They know exactly what they're doing. They all do. And when it comes to movies, I believe in predictive programming. I believe there's always something behind why all of these zombie movies exist. Now it's all of these alien movies. Go watch the Quiet Place. There's reasonings behind why movies are made, and why celebrities, your favorite artists, in their video, and you see things flashing in front of you, and you're like, what's that? Why does it look like? There's a reason for it. And some people refuse to look at it from a different perspective, but you have to open up your mind, because if you don't, you're going to be the one who's, when things do happen, you're going to be the one like, how did this happen? It's just something that I've always been very interested in. And I'm not saying I believe in every conspiracy theorist, but I believe in a lot of them. Okay, let me read some comments. Who exactly are we calling elites? Elites are some wealthy people. Teaya, I didn't know we were on the same crazy conspiracy level. Oh yeah, I'm like really there. I've been a conspiracy theorist for a very long time. There's not too much that I don't know. Agreed. Okay, drinking blood. Some people hear words and just let it intimidate and torture them. Like I said earlier, I'd call them on their damn bluff. Anybody can write a letter or type behind a screen. Amen. That's how I look at it. Like, I don't let trolls get to me. I don't let that shit get to me because at the end of the day, I don't have time for internet gangsters. You want to be behind a keyboard typing all this stuff. How is that going to hurt me? It's not. The only thing that can hurt me is me reading their words, and I know their words aren't true. So what the hell do I give a fuck for? You know what I'm saying? And that's how you have to think on the internet. Otherwise, it'll eat you alive. It's just true. It really will. I think conspiracy theorists and theorists are interesting. Okay, I read that. Trust me, I am on your level. Well, I'm going to start talking about more things, Felony Melanie. So if there's ever anything that you want to talk about or you want me to talk about, just email me. I believe that HARASS will take over Earth one day, so no one listen to me, right? We don't know who will. I certainly don't think it's not true because you think it's true, and we can certainly have our own opinions. Thank you, Joanie. I look outside the box with most things. If people only knew the things that are hidden from us, normal folks, by the government and higher ups, it's true. I believe some conspiracies to be true. I do too. Not every conspiracy, but a lot of them. I do think we went to the moon. I do think we went to the moon. Fight me. Some people think that we don't. Critical thinking is not a crime. I agree. Maybe they were terrible neighbors and everyone was in on it to chase them out. All the construction. That is another theory that Netflix kind of threw in there. You know, people don't want all hearing all that construction, but then from what the police say and other people in the neighborhood said that the construction was minimal and it wasn't like loud or anything. Most of the world has their heads down, obvious to what's really going on. It's true. It's true. And I don't blame people for that. I don't sit there and say, well, you didn't know about, who could I think of? You didn't know about Rain Man? There's a lot of rappers who rap about Rain Man. And I will automatically assume that people should know. And they don't, because not everyone looks that deep into stuff. Just like, of course, you're going to question any normal, rational person, okay? Especially if you really don't look at conspiracy theories that much. Any normal, rational person would question, like, drinking blood. Are you serious? But if you look deeper into it, it exists. Okay? There's proof out there that it exists. So I think it's hard. It's so outrageous and so, like, out there that it's hard to believe. It is. But just because it's hard to believe doesn't mean it's not happening. You know what I'm saying? That's why I rarely talk about my own experiences or abilities. Most people just roll their eyes until I prove it. Made my husband a believer in spirits. I believe in all that stuff. But yeah, most people, you're afraid, not afraid, because I don't care what anybody thinks of me, but most people can be very, very defensive about conspiracy theories. They can be very like, really, Teaya, drinking blood? Really, Teaya, do you really seriously think that people would go and kidnap kids and, you know, the wealthy and building underground? A lot of people, and I feel like it's normal to question those things. But if you say to me, let's just say that you say to me tomorrow that, or even now, whatever, that you don't believe that any celebrity or whatever, you don't believe in predictive programming, you don't believe that anyone could drink blood. Do you know that there are vampires? There are people who think they're vampires out there, okay? That it's called something where they think that they're vampires, and it's a diet that they're on where they can only drink human blood. Like, these aren't things that are made up. You just have to have an open mind to it. And if you're not willing to have an open mind to it, don't question other people because they do. It's very, very simple. You can look at things outside of the box, or you can look at things like, I don't believe in that stuff, and basically say, so some people will ask me, where's the proof? Where's the proof that all of this happened? I can show you the proof. You know what I'm saying? But even if I show you the proof, are you going to believe it? Probably not, because if you're not a conspiracy theorist, you're not going to believe it. Even if I show you proof, you're not. You're going to find a reason as to why it's still wrong in your eyes. Some people just don't believe in it, and they do get offended by certain conspiracy theories. And I just don't care. If you don't like it, don't listen to it. You know what I'm saying? It's very simple. No one's forcing anyone to believe in conspiracy theorists. Just don't knock others because they choose to believe in it. It's very simple. It was taught to me very aware of my surroundings. The worst part for me is physically feeling what people around me are feeling, especially pain and sorrow. Me too, Rock Serenity. I'm exactly that person. I'm an empath. I'm very, very sensitive to other people's feelings and emotions, and it can be very overwhelming. I can't be in big crowds and things like that. So I know exactly what you're talking about. Teaya, if you haven't already, check out Russell Brand. You know what? He's been getting recommended to me. Thank you. I will, Felony Melanie, because I know he puts it out there, okay? Which is one of the reasons why he's really not acting anymore, because he's not keeping his mouth shut anymore. He's been in Hollywood. He knows how it works. So I did hear that he's been very honest and vocal about things in Hollywood. So yes, I am. I'm going to start watching him. Thank you for telling me that, because he's been recommended to me so many times and I just never taken the time to watch him. Let's see here. I'm always very happy to debate and to investigate, but I do need to see the evidence for myself. Yeah, that's important to look at the evidence. And there's evidence out there. I have an open mind and I do need to see proof. Yes, some people, they want to see proof of things, which is completely understandable. But for some people, which I have, speaking from experience, I've shown them proof and they still don't believe it. They still refuse to believe that, like, they just don't want to believe that there is another world. They don't want to believe that there's predictive programming that Hollywood, and different places like that have such an influence on our youth. They don't want to believe that there's these plots and these plans, like the scheming. They just don't want to believe it. Even if you show them evidence after evidence, proof after proof, they still just can't accept it. And that's okay. You know what I'm saying? I just look at it like, you'll learn, you'll learn eventually, one day. Russell Brand remains a comedian and Katy Perry's ex-husband to me. What a career pivot. Yeah, he was I remember him in that movie Forgetting Sarah Marshall, and he was so funny in that movie. But yeah, he married Katy Perry, and literally he's not even in Hollywood anymore. He literally has his own channel to where he talks about Hollywood and um, the evil things that Hollywood does. And anyone who's vocal about that, they're never going to be let back into Hollywood. They're just not. Look at Cat Williams. Cat Williams, amazing comedian, right? Amazing comedian. But he has opened his mouth about the Illuminati and, the things that he has seen. He's even, you know, used a comedy skit talking about the Illuminati and the parties they have and all that kind of stuff. But do you see him having a successful career at this point? No, because anybody who opens their mouth and talks about it, it's not going to work out for them. They're going to be, yes, I love Cat Williams too. They're going to be casted out of Hollywood because it's sad, you guys. It's really sad. Jaguar right too. Absolutely, Terry. She's been very vocal too. Happy early birthday, Tinkerbell. Happy birthday. How young are you? How young are you going to be? I don't believe in some of these crazy political plots going around recently to believe that John F. Kennedy Jr. is coming back. No, I don't believe that. I've never seen that. I've never seen that one. Okay. Okay. Now, see, right here, there could be a conspiracy theorist that comes on my channel now and says, Teaya, how can you be a conspiracy theorist and not know that John F. Kennedy is coming back? Show me proof. Show me proof that he's not, and that he is like, okay, here's a perfect example, you guys. My fiance believes that Tupac is here in another country, of course, but he doesn't believe that Tupac is dead. That's a conspiracy theory. But if you ever go and look at some evidence, there's some weird things, and he has shown it to me. He actually wrote a paper on it when he was in high school. And I'm telling you right now, there's some things that he showed me that I'm like, I can't argue with him. I can't argue with him on it. Some of the things like, he didn't have an open casket. So many things. Maybe I'll do a video about that too. I'll have him talk about it with me, because I'm telling you, it's like when you have that evidence put in front of you and it kind of forces you to open your mind, you're kind of like, oh shit, maybe he is. Well, I don't necessarily think that he is. But my fiance has shown proof that he really truly feels that Tupac is alive. So, and not everybody thinks that, you know. He's my favorite. And deemed a lunatic now. Who was deemed a lunatic? I was just about to say Cat Williams. Yeah, he's deemed a lunatic. What they'll do is they'll discredit you. They will like trash you, kind of what Cat Lady does / Megamouth. She will discredit you. She'll bash you and slander you and make you look like you're the most horrible person in the world just to convince her audience. Okay, convince her subscribers, her supporters, her cult not to go over and watch you, because she knows damn well I'm gonna fucking tell the truth. And I'm gonna also use everything that I say about her. It's coming from her own mouth. I'm using her own words against her. I've never played anything out of context or anything like that. Everything I've ever said about Megamouth Cat Lady, I've said and I've proved it. Okay? And what does she do? because I chose to tell the truth about something, she slandered me, she bashed me, she tried to turn everyone against me, and it's a reason for that. And that's exactly what Hollywood does. Once a celebrity starts speaking out, they will literally, and they did it to DMX too. They have the power to put you in jail. They have the power to literally tear your whole life apart and take everything away from you. They will try to scare you into not talking. Period. Now we're just talking about everything, but that's okay. Let me read some comments. Terry Williams says he is alive. Teaya, you didn't know Tupac is alive. Some people think he is. Some people think he's not. I do think that my fiance has a good argument, though. I do. Happy birthday to Tinkerbell. Terry, I had a history professor who believed Elvis was alive and living in Indiana. Really? Tupac is here and alive. In my Spotify, not but for real, I think he might be alive. I'll do a video about that too. That's actually a good video to do. I hope Princess D is alive. That would be a nice happy ending. I know. I really loved Princess Diana. She was such, she just seemed like the most amazing woman. She really did. I tell my kids Elvis is still here. People need to experience that for themselves, no matter how much you protest against her, but you do you. It won't grow your channel. Not trying to have it grow my channel, Luann Hunter, nor do I want it to grow my channel, but I'll talk about who I want, when the fuck I want, anytime I want, and I don't have to use anybody to grow my motherfucking channel, period. Okay? So get that straight. I'll talk about who I want. You should make sure you go over there and keep that same energy though, okay, Luann? Because she's the one who started talking about me. You fuck with the bulls, you get the horns, okay? Just because she stopped talking about me a week ago doesn't mean I'm not going to talk about her and how problematic she is and what an evil piece of shit she is, okay? Now take that shit over there. My son did a paper on it in high school too. Yeah, so did my fiance. Luann, entitled to your opinion, but I think Teaya will grow very, very, very far. Thank you, Ryan. It has nothing about. You think I can grow my channel off of her? No. No. But she is playing the lunatic role, in my opinion. Who is Terry? But I now realize that narcissists seek out empathetic people for their supply. Amen, Roxanne. That's very, very true. Very true. Let me give you another example. Remember the Blues Clues guy who died? Yes, I do. Years later, recently, he is alive. It was a hoax because he wanted a fresh start. Really? Huh, I didn't know that. That's interesting. I'll have to look that up. It didn't work, Teaya. Hold on, let me go up. I'm not sure what you mean by that, Terry. So many people believe that celebrities have faked their own deaths. I didn't realize how many people believe that Paul McCartney from the Beatles isn't the real Paul McCartney till I read about them. Yes, there's a theory that Paul McCartney is the person who is Paul McCartney is not the real. Yeah, I know about that theory. And they say that the reason why they did that, I don't know why they did that, to be honest with you. They are automatically ostracized. They sure are. I literally just finished a book on the Paul is dead theory. The world would be very boring if we all believe the same things about everything. New and different ideas is always a positive thing, challenges us to collect data. Absolutely. Teaya, they can blacklist you and keep you from getting work. I have worked on that industry for a long time. You can be hurt tremendously financially, especially in the older days. Absolutely. Like Marilyn Monroe. If people still believe that Marilyn Monroe committed S, you're crazy. Like, I'm sorry. Do your research. Do your research. But there are still people, and I tell them to their face they're crazy, because that means that you're not educating yourself. You're not looking, okay? You're not doing your due diligence. You are not doing research and looking deeper into things. You're just letting the media tell you what they want you to believe. It's not true. I don't believe for 1 second that Marilyn Monroe killed herself. I don't. Especially when the pills that she took literally were so huge. They were so huge. I don't even think they dissolved. They say Hitler lived out the rest of his days in Switzerland. I've never heard that theory before, Felony Melanie. Thanks, Victoria. You're so sweet. Yes. Hold on, Terry. Yes, Luano, this is not an airport. No need to announce your departure. Take off. Luann, you need not announce your departure. Amen. No need to announce it. It's not an airport. No one called you out. You comment, people are going to read it. Exactly. I'm reading everybody's comments. If you didn't want it to be called out, you shouldn't have said anything. And if you think I care that you're leaving, I don't. And I don't think anybody else does either. Like I said, no need to announce it. Take off. Okay? She was murdered. I agree, Terry. I agree. Teaya, Symone, they believe he's dead, and a double took his place. That he was killed early on, and this guy took his place. I wonder why, though. Conspiracy Theories Thursday. Yay! I love that, Commander. Love that. Conspiracy theories like the Gulf of Tonkin turn about to be true. That's another one I haven't heard of. Bye, Luann. Exactly. Thank you. You guys are awesome. Teaya, Symone, I met in the film industry. That's why I knew MGL's little tales about her escort show was not fake. It says nonfiction when you buy the tape for people that haven't seen that. Now, see, that's the one thing that I didn't see, and then maybe that's something we can research together. I never knew for a second. Wait a minute. Hold on. Hold that thought. First of all, Luann, you don't come on somebody's channel and tell them how their channel isn't going to grow, or like you're some kind of expert. You don't need to come in here and tell me anything. If you didn't want that comment to be read, then you shouldn't have said shit, period. Okay? Because if I'm sitting here reading comments, you put that comment in there to start shit. But it's not working because I don't agree with you. People who do commentary about other creators, if you don't like it, then YouTube isn't the place for you. Period. I say period a lot. Teaya Symone, I know way too much about Paul is dead. If you ever need help, it's my pet theory. I definitely will talk about that. I definitely will. But I just want to know, why would they replace him? What is the reason behind it? That's what I think my main question is. We got to keep True Crime Thursdays, so maybe Tuesdays. Don't take away my true crime. Yeah, I think I can still add conspiracy theories to True Crime Thursdays. You know what I'm saying? Like, conspiracy theories can be intertwined with true crime, don't you guys think? Crime Time Tuesdays, Makeup Mondays. Makeup Mondays sounds really good too, Commander. Thank you. Teaya Symone, because they were so famous, they wanted to keep the beauty's fame machine going. Sorry, I'm making typos. So you mean they wanted to keep the Beatles fame machine going? That's okay. I know all about typos. Luann is bored tonight. Exactly. If you're bored, then what the hell are you doing in here? Get out. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. Go to someone else that's your cup of tea. They removed so many conspiracy theories I watched during COVID. I know. That's the thing. Okay. So, see, that's the thing with YouTube that is a concern, because once you start talking about conspiracy theories, they shadow ban you. Like, you will always get demonetized on every video. It's like they don't want the truth out there. One of my favorite creators, like I told you guys, she's literally, well, I wouldn't say the only, but I love her. Lovely Teaya. Lovely Teaya has been sitting on 970,000 subscribers for years, you guys. To me, I feel like it started when she really started talking about conspiracy theories. And there's a conspiracy theory about Jay-Z. And when she talked about this conspiracy theory, you know what Jay-Z did? Had his attorneys contact her and threatened to sue her if she didn't take that video down. So YouTube, okay, like, they have a problem with conspiracy theories, and it definitely makes me think, just like Jay Myers, you guys. If you guys remember me doing the Whitney Houston, kind of my little documentary about her and her death, Jay Myers used to be here on YouTube, and he's literally one of the most thorough conspiracy theorists I've found here on YouTube. And the reason why I say he's thorough is because everything he says, he shows proof to back it up. They took him down. They stopped his channel. And that's why now he has a Patreon, which I'm going to be in his Patreon. And then he also is on an app called, all of his content is on an app called BitChute. That's why how I was able to find him. Jay Myers, they fucked with him for a while, and then they took his channel down because he talks about conspiracy theories. So once I start talking about that, that's my only concern. I think Lovely Teaya has been sitting on 970,000 subscribers. Like, she'll get close to 1 million, and it's almost like YouTube stops it. It's really weird. And if you guys ever watched her and watched her subscriber count, and I don't watch my own damn subscriber count, but the reason why I watch Lovely Teaya's is because it's very crazy to see how YouTube is trying to stop her from growing. They really are. And I always tell you guys that, to be a creator is hard. However, for Black creators, it's a lot harder for us to thrive on YouTube. We have to work a lot harder. And Lovely Teaya does all of that. She has been on YouTube for like over 6 years. And she has literally been sitting on 970,000 for such a long time. That's not normal, you guys. That's not normal. So YouTube definitely has a lot of shit that they do, especially when it comes to conspiracy theories, especially when you do Disney, you guys. Oh my goodness. they will literally try to silence you. So I still have to be careful what I talk about, because, and it's a shame. You shouldn't have to be. This is YouTube. You should be able to, no one should stop your voice. You know what I'm saying? And YouTube never really used to be like that, but they're getting more like that now. Dear Symone, there is a theory that Whitney Houston was killed by a powerful drug gang. I just read about that. I think that's an actual cop's theory. There were suspicious. Oh yeah, and I did a video about that too, Foxy Bot. I did a video about that and about the suspicious circumstances surrounding her death. And I personally think that it was a sacrifice, but that's just my opinion. Whom do you work for? A stranger. What the hell don't they, why the hell don't they take MDL's channel for her? Because I can tell you, Victoria, that you really, I don't know, because she has done a lot of things. She's done a lot. But like I told the science girl last night, purposely, I think people like MGL, she messes with people that she thinks doesn't have money. And in my opinion, just like Critical K, and if you know who Critical K is, she's someone that I don't like. But just like Critical K, she's going to mess with the wrong person one day, you guys. It's just going to happen. And she's going to think, with her whole bullshit, judgment of everybody, how she thinks she's better than everybody, and how she has more money than everybody and more money than God. And one day she's going to come across a person that's going to have money, and they're going to take her ass to court. And one of the things they're going to take is her damn channel, and I think you guys just watch. It's going to happen. It's going to happen one day. And one day she is going to fuck with the wrong one. Teaya Symone, oh yeah, they definitely are twitchy about conspiracies, but there are some people that are wanting to do violence with these recent political conspiracy theories with QAnon. Yeah, QAnon is a whole another story. Were you blocked from Critical K? I actually used to be a supporter of Critical K. I used to be on her panel quite a bit. And besides Teaya, sincerity, Somfig, and her red self has nothing to do with her race, just as should never. What? I thought you were leaving, Luann. Can you just go, or I'll make you go by blocking you? Yeah, Critical K, I was a supporter of hers for a long time. I used to be on her panel. And then I started seeing a lot of the things that she said about like George Floyd and just her stance on things. And I'm like, I can't support someone like this. Like, I couldn't believe I supported her. She's a intellectual woman, and I do like her ways of thinking when it comes to certain things, but she's just a nasty, evil person. Very nasty. So all I'm saying is just sit back and watch, you guys, because nobody is invincible, right? Everyone has it's all fair game here, and everyone here on YouTube can be sued. You cannot be on YouTube thinking you can do whatever you want, say whatever you want, slander whoever you want. And it may not happen now, but it's going to happen one day. It is. She's going to mess with the wrong person. Please don't think that that's not going to happen. One day she's going to come across somebody that has money, and they are going to nail her ass to a wall. Period. Period. Yes, she will. Critical K mess with that Still Magnolia Christian Andriakios mama on Twitter threatening her. That woman wasn't playing. Like you said, she will cross the wrong one. She will. And that's what happened with Critical K. She crossed the wrong one. She was talking badly about this woman, saying horrible things about her child who is no longer here. All of the things she was doing, it caught up with her. And this woman took her down and her channel. And it's going to happen to Megamouth. If you think that it's just not happening when I think people want it to happen. People are like, why is she still here? Why does she still get to be here and hurt people? I get it, but it's going to happen. Karma always comes back around, you guys. You guys know that, like we've seen it happen countless of times, and it's going to happen to her too. I hope I'm around to see it. When Lord, you will be around. I'm sure you will be, Commander. Now, seeing all these weirdos now living in people's house without them knowing, that would freak me out. I agree. I'm afraid of being doxxed by someone. Well, as a subscriber, I can understand that. I personally don't care because I feel like it's inevitable when you're a creator, but as a subscriber, I understand where you're coming from. And nobody wants to be doxxed, though, I was a supporter of hers, and then one of her mods blocked me because I asked for proof of something. I emailed CK because I was a Patreon, and she didn't care. Of course she didn't. You know what? I have never been a part of Patreon, but Critical K was the first person that I actually signed up for her Patreon. That's crazy that we were in her Patreon, Rian. Maybe not at the same time, but I was a Patreon of hers. And then when I did my research on her and I found out who she is, and I actually did a video about her back in the day, calling her out on all her bullshit. But I can't support someone who sits there and thinks that has publicly said that all Black women are on welfare and have baby after baby. And me and Science Girl were talking about that last night, like who's worse between Critical K and Megamouth. And I personally think Megamouth is worse. And Science Girl agrees. I think at least with Critical K, she had no choice but to learn. And she's trying to do things a little bit differently. But with Megamouth, there are no boundaries with Megamouth. She will cross the line. She will try to hurt you, your family, your whole entire life. And I think that's what's dangerous about Megamouth. People, if she can go around making content and exploiting victims and victims' families and making money off that, do you think I'm not going to make content out of her and talk about her and how problematic she is? Because I can tell you right now, there have been a lot of people that have emailed me and said, thank you, Teaya. You showed me who this woman truly is. They will thank me. And even though it may be one or two or even 5 people, it starts with one person, you guys. These awareness channels who try to make people aware of toxic creators like Megamouth. It's such a good purpose. I really truly feel like it does help. And yes, do we benefit off of it? Of course, just like she does, just like Megamouth does, except for she creates content by exploiting people. I'm not exploiting Megamouth, okay? I'm calling her out on her shitty behavior, and had she just left me alone, maybe I wouldn't be. She should have kept my name out of her mouth, and now I'm going to create content out of her and show people what a dangerous person she is. I feel like awareness channels, you guys, or drama channels that talk about her, whatever, they're necessary because not everyone is going to, and it's always new people with her. Then those new people see how she is, then she moves on to the next, and then there's more new people. There's always going to be new people. And when you have awareness channels like these, it still can help someone, and it can give someone a sense of community. These awareness channels, commentary channels, drama channels like myself, it gives people a certain sense of community when they choose not to be a part of hers. So, yeah, I believe totally she says that. That's typical. Oh, hold on, I lost it. That's typical trash from her. She paraded that kid in front of the camera to deflect from her. Yes, she sure did. Of course he is. Anyone see what she said to him when he was on live with her? It was a different part of the house last night. No, I didn't see that. You could tell he was uncomfortable. No, I didn't see that. What did she say? I didn't see it. We need to do a deep dive on Amber. Tisk tisk. What she did to Michelle tonight was uncalled for and horrible. I seen a little bit. What the hell's going on with that? What happened? I'll have to do some research. I don't necessarily have a problem with Amber. I don't. Like I said, I think she's cute. I think she has a very, very pretty voice, but I don't know her. You know what I'm saying? And I don't personally agree with how she's constantly doing content about Michelle, but the only reason why I personally don't agree with it, even though I think Michelle is not a good person at all, but because I do feel like Michelle is mentally unstable, and that's my opinion and my opinion only. Something ain't right. And I just feel like there are different things that are said that can push her over the edge. So I choose not to talk about her. I may call her out sometimes, like when she made fun of someone who had cancer, things like that. But I'm not going to constantly do content on her because I don't feel comfortable with it. I really truly feel like, especially since she's very vocal about saying that she has BPD, I don't feel comfortable calling someone like that out because it could be something that I say. You never know, that could push her over the edge. I just feel like people need to ignore her and let her be. Stop giving her so much attention, and maybe she will take that as a hint and get off the internet and help herself and focus on herself. But she's not going to do that as long as people keep giving her all this attention. And in my opinion, they're only giving her this attention because she's a shit show. It's a shit show watching her. It just is. Every day it's something. Every day it's some new drama. Every day it's her talking about her life and her, personal things that no one should be telling online. No one should be saying in a live stream. So there's been things she's been caught doing that's just like, oh my God. Like, it's cringe. It's very cringe. So that's why I don't feel comfortable. So I don't agree with that, but it's not my place to judge anyone because at the end of the day, people look at things differently. Some people may look at Michelle and say, hey, Michelle's a horrible person too. And Michelle calls people out. But I'm able to look beyond that. I'm able to look at things in I have a deeper vision of things. And with me, I just think no matter how problematic Michelle is, I don't feel comfortable calling someone out like her every single day on my channel. I just don't. Amber is a piece of work and a half. What is Tia's email? Anyone know? I want to email her the clip of MGL and what she said. Yes. There's my email, Rianne. Just put it. You can email me and I will check it as soon as I can. Amber is a snake big time. She's a horrible bully. She was asking if She was asking if he sucked D with that mouth. He said no. She asked if his and you could hear his kids close by playing, and you could tell he was uncomfortable but said nothing. Of course he would say nothing. Of course. That's why I don't have any respect for Justin. He has no backbone, in my opinion. You may have a problem when you find out what she did today. Yes, I will do so. I know I heard a little bit when I was watching Science Girl, but I was in and out of her live stream, so I don't know everything that happened. But yeah, I'm sure like she calls Michelle out on a lot of stuff. And I just don't agree with doing constant content on her. But a lot of people do because they think Michelle is an evil person. Everyone looks at that situation differently. Not everybody sees it the way that I do. That's what you did for me, Teaya. Not an understatement. I was just thrown under MGL's cruelty bus, and I happened to find you that same week, and it changed everything for me for the better. Oh, thank you, Joanne. I appreciate that, sweetie. I'm glad you found me. I'm very glad and very blessed. I worry so much about Michelle, and in my opinion, would be better off not being on YouTube. I agree, Tinkerbell's mom. That's what I think. But everyone who tries to tell her that, she doesn't listen. So I think if people started showing her with their actions and stop watching her, maybe she would leave. But she ain't gonna go nowhere when she has the views and people are giving her the attention that she wants. She's not going to leave. If people would stop watching her, if you care so much about her mental health, if people would like stop watching her, and she had no one to go on the internet and go on her channel and talk about people, if people quit feeding into that shit, then maybe she would take a break. But no one's going to take a break when they're getting that kind of attention. They're just not. YouTube has been hot today. Everyone has been live. Oh, I bet. I'm enjoying this chat. Symone, it's been bar all the win. It's been a nice crowd tonight. Yes, I'm very, very like happy with how sometimes like when there's a lot of people in here, which I love, but whether there's 6 people in here or 600, I'm always grateful. I think you guys are amazing. Great conversation. I am going to talk about the Watcher story again because I think, especially if Netflix does a series or continues with their series, but I just wanted to share that story with you guys because I feel like a lot of people don't know that it's a true story. Some people do, some people don't. And Michelle craves attention. She sure does. And at the end of the day, I don't care what she says. She's only relevant because of Megamouth. If it was not for Megamouth making her relevant, she would not be relevant. And Megamouth still continues to keep talking about her. So I don't personally know Amber, but that was always my problem. As far as like, and that's not just with Amber, that's with any channel. I just feel like if people would just start ignoring Michelle, maybe she'll go away. However, this is YouTube, you guys, and people create content. And if you're a commentary channel or a drama channel, you're going to call people out, and it's not going to matter to you, what mental state they're in, because a lot of people think, hey, listen, if you are in a bad mental state, then your ass shouldn't be on the internet, So all I'm saying is that everyone thinks differently here on YouTube. Not everyone has the same morals as other people. The same people are different, you guys. So I'm sure that she may have did something horrible, but to her, she may not think it's horrible, Let me see if I can pull up the Science Girl real quick. We'll listen to a little bit of this and you know what? I'm going to listen to this a little bit, but not the whole thing. And then we'll talk about it tomorrow because it's late and I wasn't even planning on being on here that long, but it always happens like that with you guys because we just have amazing conversations and we just, I don't know. You guys are awesome. That's all I can say. And I appreciate every single one of you. And I wanted to ask you guys, if you're a member, make sure, the hell, if you're a member, make sure you become a part of the Facebook group because I'm going to be doing some live streams in there too. And I wanted to ask you guys, you know, what, damn it. I wanted to ask you guys what kind of lives you would like to see. So make sure if you're a member, you're part of the Facebook group. All right. So let me pull this up and whatnot. But yeah, when we get on live together, we just talk and talk and talk. And I could talk for like 15 hours with you guys, but we can't do that because we all have lives and whatnot. So I'll play a little bit of this and then we will continue on with this tomorrow. Does that sound like a plan? I have a Facebook group. So here's the deal, you guys. I am going to be doing a lot more members only live streams. Okay. Just to, tell you guys, because the reason why I don't know how to get rid of members, and there were a lot of members that I had that were team Megamouth Cat Lady. Okay. They were all like pretty much trolls at that point because they became members when we were cool. And then, when I was cordial with her, so they were still members. But now that the trash is taking out itself, now I can focus on you guys more. I just didn't want to have members only live streams that wouldn't have made any sense, knowing that a lot of them, okay, the cult, were members of my channel. So I just waited until their membership expired because of course they're not going to renew it, but some of them may have. You know how that goes. So now there's going to be a lot more members only live streams, and in the Facebook group, like I said, I want to start doing live streams in there too. So you're going to see more of me being active with members. The only reason why I held off temporarily is because of the people. It doesn't make any sense. Like if I do a members only live stream and I want to talk about Megamouth on that, it wouldn't have made any sense because there were still people who were supporters of hers that were members of my channel. Some of them, they bought their own memberships, and then some of them were gifted memberships. And I just wanted to wait until the trash took out itself. Okay. So like I said, if you're not a member of my Facebook group, make sure that you are. And there is going to be a lot more interaction when it comes to members only live streams, videos that are going to be released to members first. So I just wanted you guys to know that. Little announcement there. Okay, let me pull this shit up. Because I didn't watch the whole entire, like I was in and out of Science Girl because I was getting ready for my live stream and pulling things up. So, but she always has good live streams. Like the live stream that I was on with her last night, even though it got crazy. Okay, it got a little bit cray-cray. It was nice to be on panel and just talking with Science Girl. If you didn't see that live stream, I'll put it in the description. It was really fun. We just talked about pretty much everything, to be honest with you. We had a lot of fun, but it didn't start off good. It was a hot mess. I agree. It was hot. It turned into a hot mess. But towards the end, when me and Science Girl were on panel and just talking about everything, that's when it became more fun because Science Girl makes me laugh like my ass off. So All right, let me see if it came up. Okay, commentary on House of Williams. Okay, I think that's it. Is that it? Probably. Let me. It chilled out a lot. Yeah, towards the end, it got so much better, but it was chaos in the beginning. It was. And it wasn't meant to be chaos. I tried to calm it down, but we'll talk about all that tomorrow. Okay. We have a lot to catch up on as far as like commentating on things that's been going on. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. So let me pull this up really quickly. Hopefully the science girl doesn't mind. I don't think she minds. Okay. Let's see here.
It's the same way.
Is this it? See, I missed all this. Welcome. Welcome, I Hate Peas, to the Glam Fam. Thank you so much for becoming a member. Welcome. I appreciate you, sweetie. Thank you so much. Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of fun. That's Mallory? Hold up. Holy shit, that is. She looks different. Is that an older picture? Huh. Well, anyway, the title of this live is Commentary on House of Williams. For some of you guys that don't know, House of Williams has talked about me before. She's very concerned about me because I clear my throat, and she thinks I cough a lot, which I don't. I don't know where she gets that from, but I do clear my throat a lot. It's been like that since I was 5 years fucking old, okay? I can't help that. That's just like telling someone with Tourette's to keep still. You can't. It doesn't work like that, you know? And it's ignorant. It's very ignorant. If you're so concerned about me, then why would you talk about me in that way? Like, no. So she did a video about me before, and then me and Science Girl, we did a video about her on Science Girl's channel, and she still continues to talk about Science Girl, and it's forcing me to call her out, House of Williams, if she keeps it up, and I don't want to have to, but I will. I didn't want to address her on my channel. Even Science Girl said, don't even address her on your channel, because Science Girl is more a drama channel, you know, and I love the fact, I don't know why people are so afraid to admit when they're a drama channel. It is what it is. It's drama. You're talking about the drama that's going on, you know what I'm saying, in the community. There's nothing wrong with that. But Science Girl was like, you're more commentary, you know, let's do it on my channel. So she told me, she's like, I wouldn't even fucking address her if I were you. And I didn't. But I will. I heard Mouth is paid to drag people. You mean Mallory? She's paid to do that shit? I wonder how much she's getting paid. So Science Girl and I, we did a video and responded to her. And like I said, she continues to still talk about Science Girl. And I'm going to assume that's why Science Girl is doing commentary on her today. Yes, that's my girl. I love Science Girl. So let's continue and play this and see what's going on.
With no filter. All right. Okay. I mean, okay. All right. I don't care what friends of hers are going to be offended at this. Don't like you're the one that's kind of going in for looks, bitch. Okay? You're the one that started with that shit. Filter, 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 filter. Okay? Filter.
My bad. Sorry.
D-Dub's got the message.
Okay. Does this look like somebody that should be going in for looks on anybody? I mean, does that look like somebody that should be going at somebody's looks, talking about how they just an avatar? Okay. I'd rather be an avatar and look really cute. Cam up looking only cute. Only, I don't want to cam up looking like you. Okay. But, excuse me. Yeah. No. If I'm going to cam up, it's going to be when I look cute, not at a bad angle. Okay. That's Mallory, darling. Okay. Since we're going to talk about a video from 3 years ago, this is Mallory 3 years ago. This is Mallory on a live 3 years ago. Okay. That's Mallory 3 years ago. I'm going to just let that, there you go.
And I want to be clear here. And I said this on the Science Girls panel last night. You guys know I don't attack looks. I don't have to. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you're talking about people like Megamouth, anyone. I don't have to talk about looks because there's enough to talk about with her. However, she has definitely talked about mine. And when Science Girl and I were doing commentary, a little bit of commentary on the video that Mallory did about me, one of the things that she said was, I've never seen anyone wear as much makeup as you. Now, that is literally one of the most silliest things I've ever heard in my fucking life, because this is YouTube and I learned a lot about makeup from YouTube. My mom was a makeup artist. A lot of my aunts were makeup artists, not anymore, but the point is what I grew up around. It's what I love. It's my passion. But are you serious? Like, are you really that much of a liar, or are you really that sheltered so where you have never seen a woman that does makeup professionally and that knows how to do makeup? Like, do you go on YouTube at all? At all? Let's just examine it for a second here, okay? Let's do that. Let's show one thing here. I'll play this while I'm getting it.
Let it sit there and sing. That's Mallory 3 years ago. I mean, since we're talking about shit from 3 years ago, all right. And even if, however you say it, okay, this is me 3 years ago. Since we're talking about 3 years ago, right? Because we have nothing else new to talk about. Let's talk about when Molly Golightly met me, right? Right? Okay? No special shit, no special filters, just me. I could have a million filters on, okay? And without. I've been on camera with no makeup on, absolutely not a stench of makeup on. And still, sorry, I'm cuter than you, Mallory. Okay? All right? I didn't need to spend $80,000 on plastic surgery to be secure with myself. I have a fuckload of flaws and I embrace them. If I have sebaceous hyperplasia on my skin one month or every other couple of months, or if it comes and goes, I can cover that shit up. I still am going to be cuter than you. Okay? And you, Molly Golightly. Okay? I don't need to put a photo of myself and tell everybody, yeah, guess what? Guess how much weight I lost, y'all? And then I post some old photo that's not new. Okay. So let's look at Jenny Jen's video. So
Okay, let's just show something real quick. Since Mallory has never seen people wear as much makeup as me, let's expose her a little bit. So let's share my screen here.
Pros is custom hair care made just for you. Because no one else has hair exactly like yours.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Hope you guys are all doing well on this love.
This is Juicy Jazz. She's another creator that I absolutely love, a makeup influencer, beauty influencer, whatever you want to call her. So you see her here barefaced. I've learned stuff from her too, okay? And let's see something here.
By the way, I'm getting a couple questions about my nail. Gives like the best effect. I said this is ugly, like it's just a little too much. So this is helping, I think. It looks a little bit better. Anyways, let's go back to the mascara. So a few months back, but yeah. Sold a little bit more, but like I said, this is a creamy bronzer. It is very blendable, but it's dupable, which I feel like a lot of products are dupes. Because I know the TikTok girlies use my beauty blender pocket puff. Just doesn't really brush, and this is just bringing this so bad because I heard good things about it, but I don't love.
Juicy Jazz is my girl. One of my favorite beauty influencers besides like Jackie Ayanna and Jaclyn Hill. But you see the difference here, right? You see how she first started off barefaced, which I have before, and I will again. And then you see her now. Okay, you see her putting on foundation, concealer, bronzer, blush, highlighter. Well, she'll be putting that on, lipstick, eyeshadow. So tell me again, Mallory, I just wanted to throw that out there. Are you really that sheltered to where you look at me and you can tell me that you have never went through YouTube and seen beauty influencers doing makeup like myself or even more than myself? Because I don't even wear foundation. I wear concealer, but I don't wear foundation. She does. But do I wear the whole shebang? Hell yeah, and I'm proud of it. But for you to sit there, and you guys will hear it tomorrow, but for you to sit there and say, I've never seen anyone wear as much makeup as Teaya, you don't fucking know me, okay? And if you are that sheltered that you have never seen someone wear concealer, blush, highlighter, bronzer, eyeliner, lashes, then you need to give yourself a little bit more exposure and quit being so closed in. YouTube is the big world, and there is something called the beauty community. So where they do makeup every day, they do makeup tutorials, and they show step by step how to do makeup. Now, makeup is seriously, it's all about your perception of it and how you look at it. Some people can look at makeup and say, I would never wear it, and I'm just not into it. I would never wear it, but they don't knock other people that wear it. And then you have people like Mallory who wears makeup herself, but can sit there and say, I've never seen anybody wear as much makeup as Teaya. And what it is it's because you don't know how to apply makeup like me. For one, that's what it is. And for two, instead of giving props where it's due, you want to sit there and bash me for it with hopes that I won't do it anymore. that I will say to myself behind the scenes, you know what? I'm sick of everybody talking about my makeup. So I'm going to stop wearing it. Get the fuck out of here. I wouldn't stop wearing makeup for nobody, not even my damn fiance. And there's really nothing I wouldn't do for him. But he would never ask me because he knows what I look like without it. And he knows that I don't wear half as much as a lot of other people. Okay? There's some people where you see sometimes they might get a little bit too carried away with the foundation and you can like scrape it off their face, but to each his own. I don't care. It doesn't mean they don't look good. The point is that for you to say something like that, you have no idea how stupid you made yourself look just by saying that. And I will play that for you guys tomorrow. Okay. But as you can see, Juicy Jazz, that's my girl. Like the end result is this. That's not a lot of makeup. That's called knowing how to apply your makeup. That's called knowing how to do your makeup. That's called slaying. Okay. Slaying your face, beating your face, however you want to call it. That's what that is. Get the fuck over yourself. Okay. Just wanted to show you guys that real quick. Now, where's this part? The specific part that, okay.
That's what they said, so that's what I am.
Oh, what I said was when
Fuck you.
I do. You lied
Oh, okay.
to me, and I said that I didn't think she was a real woman. Like,
Okay, so I get the gist of this. we are gonna listen to this tomorrow because a lot of people are sleeping right now, and I want everyone to get the opportunity to hear my commentary on it. But here's what I will say before I end this, okay? I feel like, and this is definitely something that I feel needs to be talked about. That's why I really don't want anybody to miss it. But to me, Amber seems more kind of like a different breed to me. And a different breed of what I say is that it's almost as if anytime I've ever heard Amber talking about, like, if she's confronted with anything that she does, one of the first things that she says is that it's been done to me. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's very, very open, even about her own life. You've seen, she just said her daughter's name because she really, I think she really genuinely does not care if people dox her and does those things. Now, I'm like that too. But even though I'm like that, it doesn't mean that I think it's okay, or that I think it's okay for other people to do something like that. My position is always going to stand on this, and you're not always going to agree with everything a creator does, just like not everybody's going to agree with everything that I do, right? Ow. Not everybody's going to agree with everything that I do. But I think with the Amber channel, one of the things that she's excuse me, very vocal about is it's like Michelle is on YouTube, and if she's on YouTube, people have the right to commentate. If she doesn't want people to commentate, then get off YouTube. And I could see it from that perspective, but that doesn't make it okay, the things that she does. And from what I gather from listening to a little bit of this, she talked about something that Michelle did as far as like in the past and with her baby. Who's the first person that started bringing up Michelle's baby? Who's the first creator that started talking about that? We all know who it was. It was Megamouth, Cat Lady. She's the one who did a lot of this stuff, you know, and then it gave other people ammo to start doing it as well. And I don't think it's right. I don't think it's right. But I also think that she thinks differently than most people. Like, most people would not say their child's name publicly. You know what I'm saying? Which I do, you know, but most people wouldn't. And she's very much like, I don't care. I just don't care. Or if somebody says something to her, she'll be like, this is YouTube. People create content. She does seem like she tries to be very accountable, and it doesn't seem like she has any shame in what she does. I'm not saying it's right, but I'm saying with Michelle, it's all good when people are talking about her, and Amber is not the only one that does content about Michelle, okay? It's all good when people are creating content and they're getting the clicks and the views and the money. But when something happens to her, if you have any amount of empathy or heart, whatever, sensitivity, whatever, obviously you don't, otherwise you wouldn't do the things that you do. But what's going to happen when people start pointing the finger at you and saying, you drove her to this? If it was not for you, she wouldn't have done this. People don't think about those types of things until it fucking happens. And then when it happens, it's like, oh man, you know, it sucks. I don't agree with it at all. The things that I think people should stop talking about Michelle, period. I think Michelle thinks she knows everything. You can't tell her shit. Anything that, especially when it comes to YouTube, somebody who knows everything about YouTube, she's not even fucking monetized yet. And you can't tell her anything, right? And it's like, when you watch her, that's why I don't watch her, because she triggers me. She does. The way she acts, some of the things that she does, a lot of things, mostly everything about Michelle triggers me. I'm not going to lie to you. And I do think underneath the surface, she could probably be a nice person, but in a lot of ways, she's literally a Molly Jr. to me. She's like a Molly 2.0. Okay. And with Amber, I think it's just content for her, you guys. That's what I think. And I could be wrong, but I think that's where it stems from. And I think she's not thinking about the consequences to the things that she's doing to this woman. When you become a creator and you start attacking other creators, sometimes it's almost as if the creator that you're talking about is like dehumanized. You know, it's like you're not even looking at them like a human being because you're so caught up in how they act and the things that they say. And, you know, then you start digging up their past and you find more horrible things that they do. So I just feel like at the end of the day, even though you may think that she's, you know, you may be dehumanizing this person, but at the end of the day, we are all human beings with feelings. Okay. And it's not right. Two wrongs don't make a right. And that is the biggest problem here on YouTube, in my opinion. When it comes to doxing, when it comes to personal information, all of that shit, people automatically just don't fucking care. And they forget there's always the excuse. Well, this has been done to me. That's been done to me. Okay, so that gives you the right to do that to her. You know, I could seriously say to myself, well, Molly, you know, she made fun of my looks. So guess what? I'm going to bash her for her looks and I'm going to drag her. Trust me, I would have that woman crying. But I'm not going to do that because just because she does it doesn't mean I have to be as low as she is. That is the biggest fucking problem here on YouTube, you guys, is people always have to seek vengeance. People will always use the excuse of it was done to me, so I don't care if I do it to her. And that's the sucky part. No matter how many times you tell people two wrongs don't make a right, and we learned this in when? Preschool? Kindergarten? Some people don't believe in that. Some people believe in an eye for an eye. And we will continue talking about this tomorrow. Thank you guys so much for listening to me. I will link all the sources that I found with the Watcher House. I hope you guys enjoyed that little story. Well, not little story, scary story. It's a very scary story. And I will be talking about it again, but I definitely love that you guys are into conspiracy theories too. So we will talk about that and try to open up some people's minds that aren't really open to conspiracy theories. And we're going to have a lot of fun. Okay. So I'm glad that you guys were here. I'm glad that even though it's a smaller group tonight, I'm happy that it is because it gives me a chance to interact more personally with you guys. So I appreciate each and every one of you for being here. Amber and her crew trigger me. I bet. I don't watch Amber. Sometimes I do, but you know, it seems as though all she really talks about is Michelle. And like I said, you guys, Michelle's triggering for me. So I don't watch anything about her, nor do I watch her. I don't think that Michelle is a nice person. There's too many things that she says that pisses me off. There's too many things that she does that triggers me to a different place. And I can't. But I will end the panel. If you mean open the panel, I'll open the panel tomorrow if anybody wants to come up tomorrow. Thank you, Selena. Anything for Selena's. I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. I will be back tomorrow, though. And make sure, like I said, if you're a member, make sure you're in the Facebook group. I love you guys so much. This was fun. This was such a fun conversation. Scary conversation. And I appreciate you guys listening to the Watcher House. Let me know in the comments below when you catch the replay what you think about the story. Do you think that the people who moved in, do you think they created this all on their own? Tell me some of the theories that you have on the Watcher House. Make sure you subscribe before you leave if you haven't already. Click the notification bell because that's going to notify you of all my future uploads. Hit the thumbs up button or thumbs down, whatever. It's all interaction, baby. I love y'all. Deuces. Thank you to my amazing mods. You guys are amazing. I love you. Thank you to each and every one of you for being here. I appreciate you and your support. Have an amazing night. Have a blessed night. And I will see y'all tomorrow at 10 o'clock or 10:30. 10 o'clock or 10:30 or 11. Whatever. I love you guys. Kisses. Bye.
I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon. I got eyes in the back of my head, I'm seeing. Take me for granted and you know I'm leaving. I'ma take what's mine with the webs I'm weaving. I could take this crowd from seeing to believing. Got a taste for blood and my tongue keeps bleeding from the words I spit. So sharp, so freezing, so